You just want to lean back.
We got to get you dyslexic and do it backwards.
Are you playing Despacito? No, I'm kidding.
Desperado. After the second interview, we'll put you got a parody or something lined up, a song you want to do?
I can do a real song.
Yeah, whatever you
this
want.
Time we'll
like
do
I said, whatever. I give you. The,
I want to do it up tempo. I'll do Beatles up. I've just seen a face. That's nice because it's kind of nice up tempo.
You're gonna do like you did the.
No, I'll do it from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it from here. It's easier.
All right. Ooh. This must be my headphones.
Could be.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Bassy.
Red leather, yellow leather.
It sounds very bassy and like fuzzy.
Me.
It sounds very bassy and fuzzy, doesn't it, Paul?
It's all about the bass, So.
Yeah. Hello? Testing. 1, 2. Paul, say something.
Something in the way she moves.
That's good.
Attracts me like no other lover. Something in the way she moves. I don't wanna. Where's it going? Don't wanna leave her now. You know I do.
Just making more room.
Mommy. Look, matches.
Wow, that sounds like we're getting ready for Halloween early this year.
Yeah. What? It's like Cousin Brucey.
Oh my God.
They had that on all the time, though, Cousin Brucey. They
had
the echo effect. This is Harry Harrison, the morning wear. Then they had the other guy that was, what's his name? Bobby J. This is the half hour.
Don Chandler, the record handler.
Yeah, right. Oh, he's still on the, what you call it?
101.
101.
Something in the way
He went to school with
she
Moses.
moves. And all I have to do is think of her.
I can't believe I left my glasses on.
I can't believe I'm such an asshole.
That could be the topic of the night.
Well, leaving
The
your
asshole who left his
Leave now.
glasses home.
They're really just called a collection.
You're not going to leave that on because it sounds really bad.
No. He's just testing it.
Because last week you butchered his song with the reverb. It was bad.
Was it?
Yeah, I was listening to the replay. It was unlistenable. Yeah.
You're asking me where my love goes. I don't know.
Why don't you do an Aerosmith song? You like Aerosmith. Can you do Love in an
Dude
Elevator?
looks like a lady.
Can you do Love in an Elevator?
Loving an elevator.
Traveling Wilburys?
Oh, I tried new best I know.
Wu-Tang. Gene,
Wu-Tang
are you
Clan?
ready?
Hold on.
All
He's
right.
ready. Wait.
We've got 2 minutes.
Baby, hold on to me. Future is
All right, I can hit the disclaimer.
Yep. Shake.
All right.
Shake coming in tonight or no?
Before we start, when do you want to do the syndication? It seems like.
The opinions expressed by the hosts, callers, and guests are not those of Hamilton Radio, Armed Forces Radio, Raw Talk Online, 102 DLG Radio Orlando, QStarFM.com, or Animal House Radio. Some of the material broadcast on Animal House Radio may not be suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Listener discretion is advised.
She's a nigga on a one-way ride, asking nothing
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Animal House Radio Show.
Welcome to the jungle.
It's a jungle in here, baby. I've got a great show for you lined up today. Tonight we have a Revenge of the Nerds reunion.
Yes.
With featuring Julia Montgomery and Larry B. Scott. So
Cool.
It's going to be a great show. Shay Farrell is off tonight, but everyone else is here. And we're ready to rock and roll. Tonight's show is brought to you in part by Francesca's Deli, 2119 Whitesville Road in Toms River, New Jersey. It's not too late to heat. Actually, we just went to go pick up some pizza again, as they might call it a meat pie or something. I call it pizza.
Ricotta pie.
Ricotta pie.
Ricotta pie. Okay, he's got. We picked up a nice one for about $17. It was delicious. And Paul, how did you like the sandwiches this week?
The sandwiches were great, and so was the macaroni salad, and the coleslaw was very
Yeah,
good
it
too.
was I'm not a big coleslaw guy, but I ate that.
It was
so,
good.
You know,
It
for
was
me to
very
eat coleslaw, because if I get it anywhere else, that's the first thing I do is throw it in the garbage. I won't eat it. But yeah, check them out. 732-363-5555. It's not too late to order your stuff that you need for Easter. Please check them out. Ross and his crew, they got really good stuff. And every week they get better and better and amaze us every week with the food. Gisela, you got to run down the syndication for us?
Absolutely. We can't forget about DJ Friction at 102 DLG Radio Orlando and Chaz at rawtalkonline.com, Steve Jarrett at QStar FM, and Rob Scribner at Good Talk Radio. And now being heard on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, you name it, we got it.
YouTube too.
YouTube, yes.
YouTube, yeah, any kind of tube.
Any tubes.
Make sure, for everybody that's listening,
Porn tube.
go to our Facebook page, The Animal House Radio Show. If you haven't done so already, like it. Check us out on Instagram at Animal House Radio. On Twitter, it's at The Radio Animal. So please do us a favor. Check that out. A couple things we got to mention before we get started. Nashville Universe, there's two categories that I want to bring to your attention. One is Radio Personality of the Year, which I have been nominated for, and Radio Station of the Year, which Hamilton Radio has been nominated for. The link, Gisela, you're going to...
And don't forget the song, Gino's song.
Song of the Year? Song of the Year is Bonfire by Anne-Marie Paserno, Gene Piero, and Bob McGilpin.
If nobody wins, we're throwing everything onto the bonfire.
Yeah. What I didn't know, and I just found out, you can vote every day. I didn't know that. I thought it was a one-shot deal.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I think I'm going to have Gisela post the link in a few minutes. So if you haven't done so,
Post the
listen,
link. Post the link.
I know you have to vote in every category. I know it's a pain in the
No,
ears.
you don't. I didn't have to.
No.
I just scroll down. You go down. You hit
There
hit the
are
arrow.
certain categories they make you vote in.
Yeah.
I only voted on
okay.
2.
See, I signed up for the Nashville, and I had to vote for every single category.
I didn't have to. I just hit the arrow, and it brings you down to what category
It
you
would
want.
mean a lot to us if we can win all 3 categories for the network, and so please check that out. Gisela's going to post the link. If you have a few minutes out of your day just to post it, a vote, and share it to everybody you know. So I would really appreciate that. And like I said, tonight is a Revenge of the Nerds reunion. We have Julia Montgomery, who's going to be checking in with us.
Nerds!
In about 10 minutes. That would have been a great movie for you to be in, Ed.
Absolutely.
Ogre's my hero.
Yeah, he is. Really.
He's in a lot of stuff,
I got to
too.
try and get him in, Donald Gibb.
He's in a lot of stuff.
He's a cool actor. He was
Now
in
that's a guest.
he was in Bloodsport.
He's
Yeah.
he's in a lot of stuff.
He is. He just pops up in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually do you remember a TV show, a series on HBO called First and 10 with O.J. Simpson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
He
that
was on
show.
that too. It
My friend
real-
was in that.
Yeah.
My friend
Yeah,
was
with
the lead
Tony
guy.
Longo.
Yeah, he died. I didn't know that. Tony Longo.
Really?
He's dead. Yeah, he died.
He's dead.
He's dead. Bill Nunn, dead. But we had a great time last week. Went out to the Judas Priest concert. I got to meet my metal idol, Rob Halford, and it was funny. We went backstage, and I just felt like they treated us like royalty. We walked back there, and the manager comes out, shook everybody's hand. Thank you guys for coming. And Rob,
And they kicked you out, right?
no, he goes, Rob will be out in a minute. He's getting a massage. He gets a massage. I swear to God, he gets a massage before every show. He says it makes him...
Makes
you
him
know,
loose.
Yeah, but, don't they say that that's supposed to, like, tire you out when you do that?
No. Loosens up your muscles. And if he moves around a lot on stage, it's good to be loose.
Yeah, well, he feels like he gets... and he even said, the manager, he gets one of those ones where, like,
A deep
you
massage.
get hurt
A
from
deep
the
massage. Yeah, it's for the muscles tissue.
Gee, can you turn me up? I feel very fuzzy. in my
The only thing
headphones.
bad about a massage before the show
Yeah,
is if you
much
get a,
better. Okay.
if you get a happy ending, because then your legs.
Well,
go.
I don't know about what he does in the dressing room. I didn't go that
It's
far.
definitely better than a Happy Meal.
Well, Rob Halford, is he really happy?
You know what? He came out. They all came out. Richie Faulkner, Ian Hill, Scott Travis. They all came out and they spent time with us. They didn't just go, "Hi, thank you for coming," and
Right.
move on. They hung out with us.
Right.
They shared some stories. They signed all our albums and stuff. Anything we wanted, they let us do, and they were just sweet. I want to thank Jane Andrews, the tour manager, and Pete Merluzzi, and also Chip over at Chipster PR, who was going to set up the interview. We did Ian Hill. That's up right now if anybody wants to check it out on Spreaker. Ian Hill. I will post the Richie Faulkner interview tonight as soon as I put it together. I just have to slap it together, and he's going to give us, and in the coming weeks, we will have Rob Halford, and we will have Michael Schenker, too, for all you
I had a
metalheads.
shanker once.
Yeah, right. It's on my lip.
Yeah. No, it was in a worse place than that.
I had a shanker girl once.
But,
She just wouldn't listen.
But you put the Ian Hill up on YouTube too, so because that's on there too now.
Yeah, well,
It's on
whatever
YouTube
goes on Spreaker, it goes on it goes on the
All the
iTunes,
platforms.
it goes on iHeartRadio. So I'll post Richie Faulkner, and like I said, we're gonna have Rob Halford, Michael Schenker, and John Karabi. That's coming up, and so next week we have Mike Marino, who will be in studio with us hanging
Nice.
out.
Oh, good.
He's got a big show coming up at the NJ PAC. So.
Yep.
And Michael Sweet from Striper will also be joining us on the phone.
777.
Yeah. You know what? Call me crazy, and I thought I knew my stuff about the
Crazy?
80s. I had no idea Striper was a Christian metal band.
Well, you're crazy.
Yeah.
What are you,
way
nuts?
I had no idea about that. I thought they were just a regular metal band. I had no idea about their. I didn't even know they dressed up like in.
They used to throw Bibles out.
Yeah, that's well, I
They
didn't
used to
know
like,
that.
here, have a Bible.
Steve-
And they used to throw them out in the audience.
Steve Keller was telling me that today, and I didn't believe him. I thought he was bullshitting me.
No,
and then
they're
I didn't.
nuts.
I didn't even know they dressed like bumblebees too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, they're out of their minds.
I remember them from Saturday Night Live.
But just to let you know,
But that's a different band.
he's very excited to do the interview, but we cannot, and it's an instant termination of the interview. We mentioned Tim Gaines for whatever reason.
Who's Tim Gaines?
I think he was a member of the band, and there's some
Oh,
bad
okay.
blood there. I didn't even want to ask
I
questions,
don't even
so
know
I
him
said,
or Tim Gaines.
Can we
So-
mention Satan?
I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Well-
in.
Well, I'll give you the advice that Steve Keller gave me. Ask him at the end of the interview, because then it doesn't matter.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I you know me. I don't like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do no ambushes. But Gisela, you have inquiring minds.
I
Let's
have
put them out
inquiring
there.
minds. I also want to remind everyone, we have an app, Hamilton Radio 3.0. Please download that. We're on Channel 2, so you could listen to us crisp and clear.
Yeah, that's
live.
the app is
That's
much
the
better
best
than
way.
yeah.
You could still,
Yeah.
watch us on Facebook, but the app is the best way to listen.
And if Julia or Julie Lorendi Giovanazzo, if you're listening, I want you to get in touch with me. I have an idea that I want to work with you on about doing stuff for the show. I know you're like a continent away, but I think you'd make a good foreign correspondent if you're up for the job.
You said she's a continent?
She's a continent. Yeah, well, she's incontinent. Yeah. What is she, Milton Berle? Remember that commercial he did?
She's on her own.
At my age, I've done just about everything in my BVDs.
So my inquiring mind question I put out.
Put them out there, and we'll answer them later. Yeah.
If you could choose one hobby now, perhaps money or time would be the reason why you didn't, what hobby would it be?
A hobby horse.
Is masturbating considered
Yes.
a hobby?
And
I
I don't know, do you
guess.
pay for that?
For me, it's
Well, we
a
all
job.
pay. We all pay for it.
Yeah. One way or the other.
We all pay for it.
And then the second question is, are you sunrise, daylight, or night person?
Nighttime.
Easy night.
Please choose
Yeah,
one
none of them really.
and tell me why. And
That's
then
easy.
3, if you were to be reborn, in what decade would you want to be born?
These are nice questions.
And
These are
why?
nice, easy ones.
Yeah, they are.
30-30.
Yeah, I have to make them easy because Dave was tired the other day and the thinking was really...
Yeah, it was just
smoke
way
was
too
coming
much.
out of his
Yeah.
head.
What decade would I want to be born in?
Yeah,
If you
and
could go
why.
back, yeah.
You know what? I'm happy where I'm at.
I had a few people already answer my questions online.
We're
so
talking
we'll
about
come back
fantasy,
to
though.
that.
Fantasy. I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously,
30-30.
you want to be in the decade you were born in, but yeah, as a fantasy.
Yeah,
thing, that,
yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Well, no, I liked the fact that I was a child of the 80s, so I wouldn't change that. I would like to go back and maybe like Motown era and the doo-wop groups
That's the
back
60s.
then, so
That's what I was, the 60s.
you know, stuff like that.
That was my era.
But I want to be. But when you say
Back when Paul was in his 30s.
you, when you say when do we want to be born in? Like
No, if you were to be reborn, right? What decade would you want to be born in?
Besides your own,
So
because
that-
you already done that.
So does that mean I gotta go through puberty again?
Well,
Again.
you know
Because
what?
I'm still going through it.
Maybe the Motown era, the
I would
golden
wanna
age
be
of
like the
comedy
50s.
era.
That's
you
what I'm
know,
saying, the
like
30s.
The Dean Martin Rose.
But maybe
but-
now, because then I'd be, young again.
But I would like to be like the golden age, like I said, the 30s. But the only thing, you better be an entertainer because that was the Depression era. So everybody else
Right.
was dogs.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I wanna,
But the entertainers were doing great.
my luck, I'll hurl myself off of a building.
Well, that's why I said the year 3030. That's going to be a good decade, I feel.
I think so.
That might work.
Like
Can't be any worse than now.
I
Yeah.
don't know why. For some reason, my headphones are very low.
sounds loud
Low,
to me.
low, low.
You sound fine here.
Well,
Yeah, I
how
don't
low
know,
can
it's
you
just-
go?
It's like a humming, like a very.
You got a volume control here. Wait a minute. How's that?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, tune in Tokyo. But all right, so that was the first one.
That's
the-
3
You
questions.
keep all
right
three.
there.
You gave us all three.
I didn't hear all. What was the? Go
Oh
through them
my
again.
goodness.
I'm sorry.
If you could choose one hobby now
Oh, a hobby. I remember that
that
one. okay.
perhaps money or time would be a reason why you didn't, what hobby would it be? And then the second one was, are you a sunrise, daylight, or night person? And please
We're all
choose.
comedians. We're gonna say night. Everybody's gonna say night.
Well, it goes without saying.
I'm not really any. If I could, I'd just sleep all day.
Yeah.
Really, just getting out of bed thing's a real inconvenience.
Well, I thought you hate to be laid off, Ed. You hate like being like. a
I
fish
do,
out
but
of
if
water.
I could be sleep all day, that'd be awesome.
Why don't you just get a bed with like wheels and a motor?
I thought
you
about
go.
that.
That'd be good.
And an incline, so that way you could just sit up and still be in bed.
Yeah,
and just,
yeah.
just drive
Yeah.
it around. Yeah.
You should get like a recliner inside the forklift where you're at.
That'd be awesome. I'm trying.
nice
I'm trying to
pillow.
get that.
CD player.
I can't get him to fix my. I can't get new tires on that thing. I'm driving on banana peels.
I was editing this show last week, and I was doing the one with Terry Kaiser and.
That was great.
And Eddie was like, "I'm here for 5 hours. I could use a pillow right now because I'm exhausted." He said it was so funny the way he goes. And then Dave with the one-liners. I can't even remember half of the stuff. He just comes out with them out of nowhere.
Left field. That's my
Left
position.
field, yeah. Left field, Bugs Bunny. Right field, Bugs Bunny.
Wow, I just noticed that Facebook has a new feature that if someone is watching you, they'll show you, and then if they're not watching you, they'll show you when they get off. That's pretty cool.
Oh wow.
I always
What
like.
do you
To,
mean,
I
on
always
the
like to know when I get off.
You mean on the
I
Facebook
prefer.
Live?
I prefer that they're getting off while watching me.
Yeah, right. Well, that's on Ed TV.
Yes,
Wow.
That happens all the time
You
in
should do a show
stripper
from your
world.
bed.
that'd be fun.
You should do a
Live
show from his
from
bed.
your bed.
We have a call.
Gene, as soon as you're ready, bring them up. Hi, you're on the air.
Ah. Well, hi, it's Julia Montgomery. Is this Wild Thing?
This is Wild Thing. All right, everybody. It is 8:45. Joining us now live on the phone is a legendary actress. She's been in some of your most favorite sitcoms that you ever remember watching, and she's taken a few minutes out of her schedule to join us tonight. You may remember her from one of the most iconic movies from the 80s, Revenge of the Nerds. Please welcome for the first time on
Press-
the Animal
Press
House
Group?
radio show. Yeah, Miss Julia Montgomery.
Yay!
All right.
Nice, nice. Oh, what a welcome. Thank you.
Julia, thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be talking to you. Thank you for taking the time to spend a few minutes with us today.
Sure.
And special thanks to Rob Lowe at castingnewlives.com for making this happen. So, Julia, since this is your first time on the show, I want to welcome you. And I'm gonna just jump right in here with both feet, and I want to ask you, as an actress, how did it start for you? When did you know that, hey, I want to be an actress? Or I know, was it at an early age, or?
Yes, it was. I was actually, let's see, there were two moments. One was when I was, probably the most spectacular one was when I was cast in like a town, like I lived in Livingston, New Jersey.
All right.
So there was,
Yay!
Oh, that's money up there. That's
Yeah.
money.
I used to perform at Rascals all the time up there in West Orange in that area.
no way!
Yeah.
Livingston! Woohoo!
Hey, you must have
I'm a
money.
Jersey girl. What's that?
Livingston's money. Did you live near Richie to boot?
Oh my God! Not that I know of. Not that I know of. But yeah. So in Livingston, I was at this point I was like 11 years old. I'd already been in a lot of school plays and everything. I already had like the feeling for it.
Right.
But I got cast in this teen theater production and I was 11, so I wasn't really a teen yet, but they were doing The Sound of Music, which sounds really corny, I know, but I always loved The Sound of Music from when I was like 6 on. When I
Me
would see that
too.
movie, I saw it so many times. I'd be like, oh my God. Not only was it Julie Andrews because her name was Julie and all that,
right.
but then all the kids and wanting to be Liesel and, because she was 16. And so anyway, I got cast in that play. And that was kind of when I knew for sure, I don't know, that was like one of those huge moments. If you were my sister, you'd probably walk past me in my bedroom and I'd be like singing in the mirror and she'd be like, oh my God.
Is that when you actually caught the bug at that point?
For sure. Absolutely at that point. Yeah, absolutely. And there was another time my dad brought us into to the city to see Angela Lansbury. I don't know if she was in Gypsy or I'm not sure if that was a show, but
Right.
I was like just out of my mind by the I was like crying at the I was like this is something. It was a deep connection. Later
Right.
on in one of the shows that I did was Murder, She Wrote, and I got to work with Angela
cool.
Lansbury,
Oh, that's cool.
which was incredible. She's really neat.
That was cool.
But yeah, totally. Yeah, so Livingston.
Livingston, yeah, that's money. Up
So how
there.
old were you when you moved from Kansas to Livingston? How old were you?
I was like 5. By the
Oh,
time I
okay.
was in first grade, I was in Livingston.
Okay.
And then the second I was 18, I moved into, I actually, even though I was 18, I had to run away from home because even though I was doing like a soap opera at that time, I was doing One
Yeah.
Life to Live.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd been doing it for a couple years, and my parents still wanted me to have friends on the bus to come meet me for coffee. I was like, I just don't get this. No. I mean, I don't I guess it was just not a meeting of the minds, but they really didn't want me to move into the city. But I was 18, so I literally, though, ran away from home.
Right.
And I actually told that story on the Johnny Carson show, and just recently my dad told me how upset he was that I told that story.
Oh,
But I
wow.
was thinking, isn't it kind of funny that in a way that I had to run away from home at 18 anyway? So he didn't think so.
Yeah.
You gotta follow your,
All
how
the
follow
way
your
across
dream.
the river.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Julia? It seems that you hear that story more often than not with actresses and actors, how they either they go to New York or L.A. and they just take a shot in the dark.
You
and,
have to. You gotta follow your dream, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. And, I started when I was just like almost 15 as a teenage model. And so that just, I don't know, came kind of easily. I just cut bookings right away. And then really within a few months, they were sending me out for commercials, and then I was booking those. And so it was and then I suddenly had the audition for One Life to Live, and I got it. Like, it was all in a day. I went in the morning, and then I had to wait until the afternoon to be called back. Anyway, it's literally 2 days later I was working on the show, and it was like a whirlwind. So I had a very, very fun whirlwind kind of start. And
Yeah.
That was
And
one,
it's- I'm sorry.
no, I'm sorry. One Life to Live was your first big break.
yes.
And
Yes.
that's the best That's the best training for acting, because you got to learn so much every day. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
great
daily
training.
thing.
Oh my God.
yeah.
Oh yeah. You have to learn so many pages. I mean, and massive, monologues and
Yeah.
tears and craziness.
Yeah, it's a great training.
Kissing older men, and which I didn't mind, with the exception of one older man who I really didn't want to kiss.
I'm sorry
there's
about that.
older, and then there's older. You know what
Right.
I mean? And so I didn't mind the older. Like, that was perfect. Like I was totally in on 10 to 15 years older, but not like someone who, when I was 18, actually I
Right.
was 16, they had me kissing this character named Asa Buchanan, who in real life was probably, I don't know.
But he was hot.
I remember him. Yeah, he was.
No, he was not hot.
He was hot for an old guy. For an old guy,
no,
he was hot.
Tell us the truth.
Not to a
Julia.
16-year-old.
Julia, tell
Well,
us
not
the
to a 16-year-old,
Yeah.
but for an old guy.
Julia, tell us the
That's
truth. Did
right.
he have bad breath? Is that what it was?
Probably did. Yeah, he had bad breath, and it was like gross.
He had a
I
lot
was
of
like,
money.
No,
No.
That's funny.
She was on Tiger
Exactly.
Beat. He was on Cougar Beat. You know.
Right.
It's always bad. It's always bad to do a
That's
kiss.
exactly.
It's always bad to do a kissing scene after lunch break. That's
Oh,
not
gosh.
Yeah.
It's always bad.
Yes, exactly. So, but we had so much fun on that show, and I met a couple of people, like my very best friend from that show, and to this day, my very best friend. So, I mean, we had a blast on that show.
Right.
With the exception of me, with the storyline with the very much older guy. All the other storylines were great, but
That's funny.
anyway, so that was really fun. And I was like walking around the streets of New York. It was fantastic. I mean,
Right.
who wouldn't? It was like, this is my city. Oh my God. It was fantastic. I was at Studio 54,
Right.
and,
Oh, wow.
I mean, not that I'm dating myself, but I'm telling you already know.
Yeah, but that's the late. That's the
Oh,
late
my God.
70s. That's the late 70s. It was a great era.
70s and 80s. That
It
was
the
the
late-
era,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. Late 70s, early 80s. It was fantastic.
Yep.
Big hair, big shoulder pads.
Yep. Yep.
Lots of lip gloss.
Oh,
So yeah, those were the days.
That's funny.
So, Julia, let me ask you, when it came to when you got the part with Revenge of the Nerds, now, was that something that you
Yeah.
auditioned for, or did they seek you out for it?
No, I auditioned, and I got a call back, and that's when I met Jeff Canoe, the director, and he was great. He was so much fun, and then they sent me right into what a filmed audition, the way, like in the very old days they used to do it, but then they filmed you in this, and so it was just me and the director, and I felt really good about it from the very beginning, especially once I met Jeff, because he was really, really fun. He had us all rehearsing, especially the nerds, not as much me, but all the nerds in the nerd house. In a few minutes, you're gonna talk to Larry B. Stott, and you're gonna hear some great stories about what it was like to be in the nerd house. And my God, we had such a good time on that show. And in that town, and during the shooting, we were wild and crazy and fun. It was a really great experience. That's definitely my favorite cast.
Right.
In addition to a couple people from One Life to Live, that cast, Revenge of the Nerds, was and still is like my favorite. They're my favorite people.
Who was the biggest cut up off camera? Who was the biggest cut up?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, there's a lot of let's see, maybe Tim Busfield. I mean, there's a lot of. Well, how about the biggest partier?
Yeah. Who is that?
Oh my God, there were a lot of ties for that. Perhaps John Goodman, and trying to keep up with John Goodman was impossible. But
Yeah.
he was such a great guy.
Yeah.
We would just hang out, a bunch of us in his hotel room, and whatever was being passed around, and listen to music, and just until it was like, okay, I hear the birds singing, but I'm still awake.
Right. But John used to be a bartender, so he knows how to party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Exactly.
You know what, Julia?
Yeah.
When I watched those movies, because that was my decade growing up, and even though from a viewer's point of view, it just even, and I don't know, but it just seemed like those movies back then, besides becoming iconic, they always looked like it was so fun to make. Now, don't get me wrong, they make movies today that are great, but it just seems, and I may be wrong, like this is just speculation, but it seems today when they make movies, they're mechanical. When you watch a movie from the 80s, like Revenge of the Nerds or The Breakfast Club or Animal House, it looks like they had a ball making it, even though it was still work. I don't know, is that true, or?
It is so true. I mean, it is so true. And that set in particular, there were no egos. We were all in it together. We all wanted to make it, great. And everyone was coming up with little bits that were personal and that they would bring in, and that Jeff Canoe, was inviting us and telling us we need, bring in your own, funny bits and your own personal stuff. I mean, yeah, that was unusual, and we literally could not. It was so sad when that ended. I thank God it became, you know, a sleeping hit, because I just love those people, and every time I see them, I feel like, you know, we're back together, just like back in the '80s, and it was, I mean, without the drugs. but
Did-
really,
Did anybody get
really
hurt?
fun.
Like, there was so much action going on. Did anybody get hurt? Like a fun story.
You know, they did. No, nobody that I know got hurt. Or they didn't feel the pain. Like, I don't.
Right. I know, because I see. I'm like, they had to get hurt. They had to be.
I don't remember. No, nobody got hurt.
All right, that's cool.
We were like, you know, yeah. It was. We were blessed. We were just like, nothing went wrong on that.
Not even
I remember
animals.
one day when I had finished shooting the. Well, let's see. We were in that same room and stuff. I don't know if we had done the shower scene. That might have been a different day. And not that I really want to bring that up. Why did I bring it up? I don't know. But we were in that same hallway and stuff. And I had whatever I was shooting. I was done for the day. They took me back to the hotel. And then I get a phone call from Jeff Canoe. Hey, Julie, would you come back? I've got an idea. And I'm like, yes, I'll come back. And that's when he created the thing where I'm walking down the hall, singing "Old MacDonald Had a Farm," you know, and it's just like such fun things. He would say, "Oh, you know, Julie, run into this scene and do such and such," and of course, you do the same with the nerds, and it was so great.
Dave?
How you doing? This is Dave Hodge. Now, any crazy stories from the bounce house? You know, besides the scene that you filmed there.
Well, let's see. It was supposed to be a closed set. Not that anything was actually going on, but, you know, it was like a very still. It was like, you know, it was a serious as if, you know, in that moment. And, but Curtis Armstrong and I had a really tight friendship. And he gave me his risky business jacket to wear to the set that night, and I wanted him to come to the set because I was a little nervous actually about it. And then what happened was Robert Carradine, and this by the way is in Curtis's book, Robert Carradine got really mad and told the ADs Curtis was not to come to the set because I guess the bottom line was he was kind of jealous of the relationship that Curtis and I had developed. And he did not want anything, you know, the risky business jacket was like a thorn, I guess, for him.
Wow.
And then Curtis, it was like they stopped Curtis from coming to the set. And Curtis was like, why can't I come to the set? You know, Julie wants me there. And he's like, you just can't. Why? Anyway. So,
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, it was dramatic, but it was, you know, it was, working with Robert was great. Like even though we weren't at that point in time during the shooting of the movie, we weren't particularly close. We had great chemistry. And so somehow, even though we weren't like, if you had been filming me and Curtis, you would have seen like a lot of chemistry, but it was because we were together all the time. But with Robert and I, they didn't rehearse us so much, but we did have this chemistry and we did have kind of our roles down. And so it was really fun working with them. I'm not saying anything like that, like it was a blast, but it was interesting that how that all went down, and that I didn't realize that he would be jealous of Curtis.
I love
you know
it.
What I mean? Like, I
Gossip.
just didn't think that.
I love it. Nice, juicy gossip.
A little performance anxiety for him because of that.
Julie, if they ask
Yeah.
you just tell them what happens in the bouncy house stays in the bouncy house. That's it, okay?
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's
Julia,
right.
what do you? Let me ask you. What do you attribute when you movies like Revenge of the Nerds? Obviously, the chemistry of the cast has a lot to do with it. That makes movies stand apart. But why do you think movies like that from the '80s? What was it? Just the timing, or
why were they so much fun?
no?
Why were they?
Why did they become so iconic? I guess was it just the timing was right and
Well,
then,
The chemistry, it came across.
Well, I think
They were fun.
I think with our movie it was because this is really a movie that everyone could relate to. It wasn't really written so much that way. I mean, it was written okay, but what everyone did with it that was so great. I mean, the fact that, you know, my character really, you know, I don't show it, but like, you know, the Lewis character is getting under my skin throughout the entire scene by scene, even though it's like I shouldn't be dating him because he's a nerd, and I with Dan, who's gorgeous in the football and all that stuff. But, you know, like we all feel there's parts of us, no matter what we look like or whatever, that feel left out, and, you know, all of the things that the nerds stand for, different and awkward.
Yeah, right.
And I think the heart of that movie in particular for nerds, for our movie, was what made it, you know, not just a college, you know, raucous, fun comedy, but also like people really care. I mean, people will come up to me at Comic-Cons and stuff like that. By the way, we're doing a Comic-Con in May in Detroit. It's the Motor City Comic-Con. It's May 18th to the 20th. Nice. In case anybody's in Detroit and wants to come. But
that's cool.
yeah, I think it was the heart and soul of that movie, and the message of that movie that made our movie that popular.
Yeah, rooting for the underdog.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, root for the underdog, and you know, it was kind of like, I mean, the word nerds was around, but no one really used it. And it kind of like was the beginning of, you know, a whole era. And besides that, it was just a lot of fun, and I think that's why that genre of movies. So it is a lot all about, like you guys are saying, about chemistry and you know, that always has to be there. But
yeah, and like you said also,
ours is a special one.
And like you said also, that before that, nerd was considered like an insult, but after that movie, nerd became cool.
Right, yeah, it became like a badge of honor.
Yeah, well, especially due to the end of the movie where everybody figured out, hey, we're all a little different, but we're all the same at the same time. So.
Exactly.
You want to laugh?
That's what I mean.
You know what, Julia? If you think about it, you know, when I grew up in the Northeast in New Jersey, like just like you did, I came from Newark, and you know, we really didn't use that word nerds. There were people that weren't like everybody was in their own clique. There was jocks, there was this, that, but I think the movie now is more relevant with all the nonsense with the bullying is more relevant now than it was back then.
Well, it's true because my generation, we did use the word nerds.
I called everybody a nerd.
Yeah, I never really say that. They were just.
Oh, did you?
We call them other things.
Yeah, no. In my generation, if you were a nerd, you were like, nobody looked at you. But now it's different. Now, if you're like intelligent and you're nerdy, you get more respect.
Yeah, look at the Big Bang Theory.
It wasn't cool before, right?
You know,
I'd beat up all those kids on the Big Bang Theory. I take their lunch money.
There is sometimes a little irritating qualities with nerds too, but that works out over time. As nerds get older, they're very good marrying material.
Right.
You know, like Lewis really knew how to take care of Betty. Okay, sure, he in some terms you might think the bounce house was a little bit like of a possible RAPE situation, but we didn't think that way back in the 80s.
Right.
So now, you know, we're being, but anyway, that's like a little heavier note. I certainly never crossed my mind, honestly, which is kind of embarrassing to say, but I didn't really think of it that way. It was like, oh my God, you're that guy that's been, you know, I mean, you're the nerd that's been pursuing me and that I kind of like, and now this, you just did this to me, and I'm like, okay.
You know why? Because back then, you know, everybody was more like loose and they didn't have sticks up their butt. Nowadays, you know, something like that, they would. There was a movie that I took my stepkids to see. It was just out in the movie. About what was the movie with
Peter Rabbit?
Peter Rabbit, and they had, and these parents were up in arms over one line in the movie about saying something about people with allergies. I mean, like, really?
And my son does have an allergy, but people are so touchy.
It wasn't even like a slur, and it was like, you know, he just said a funny line, and in 2 seconds it was gone. But people went up in arms, and that's why I'm saying, you know, like with today about how people are all this bullying and all this nonsense that's going on. I think the movie is, even though it was relatable back then, I think it's even more so relatable now to see how, you know, there are different people and there's nothing wrong with them. They're just different, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that, like, for me in high school, I never felt like I fit into one group, and that's an awkward feeling. I had friends from each group. I was usually in love with like the greaser guys. Like I thought they were, you know,
right.
the hottest. But then I also was friends with the theater kids, and then I had a couple friends from the band, and you know, it was like I didn't feel like I fit in, like you think that people would think Betty would fit in.
Right,
I don't think that anyone probably, if they're really being honest, fully feels like they're so perfect. You know what I mean? I mean, we all have these things that make us. Anyway, I'm getting too deep. But.
That's a little deep.
That's all right.
I am perfect, by the way.
Thank you.
So, Julia, what are you doing right now? What are you working on currently?
Well, currently I'm just about to be an empty nester. I had a couple of kids, and they're almost grown now.
Oh.
I've been back just doing television commercials mostly, and I'm also a realtor, and I just picked that up in the last couple of years, and I'm having a lot of fun with that, and doing the Comic-Con thing, and just open to whatever comes.
Oh, wow. Is there something that you would like to do that you haven't done yet that you say, like, it's on your bucket list to do career-wise?
Well, I would love to do a television series. That would be really, really fun. But I'm also at the kind of the point where I'm like, it's okay if I don't. Like, I've got a lot of other avenues and aspects of myself that I'm okay if I don't. That's sort of why I haven't really been pushing into that. The commercials are really fun, but I'd love to do an ongoing series. I guess that it would kind of circle back to the way it was with One Life to Live, where you have the same group of people and you're that ensemble feeling, and that would be really fun.
Right.
Oh,
but,
I could definitely see you doing something like on like a sitcom and being like one of those sitcom moms, and I think we gotta make some phone calls for you.
Yeah, let's talk to John Goodman being that show's back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I should be on that show. Let's just call John. What am I doing?
Say, hey, you forgot me over here. What are we doing over here? I'm from Livingston.
Yeah. Hey, John. Remember me? Of course he would. He's a doll. He's a total doll.
You know what, Julia? It was a real pleasure to have you on, and I want you to know that you have an open door anytime you want to come on and shoot the breeze with us.
Oh, thank you.
If you have something that you want to promote, please,
how nice. Thank you.
And you're going to be at
and I want to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're going to be in Detroit at the Motor City Comic Con May 18th to the 20th, and I'd love to meet anybody who wants to come. Those are really, really fun events. At the last one, we did the big Rhode Island Comic Con, and we had a nerd party, or one of the events was a nerd party.
Oh,
of course, it was totally sold out, and we had a lot of fun with everybody. But I wanted to also say a really deep and special thanks to our troops, because it means so much. I don't even know how to put it into words, but to have all of you guys and girls over there for standing up for us is, just so many thanks, and much love to you all.
Right.
Love you.
Yes, I know they appreciate it. Julia, before we let you go, would you do the station ID for us?
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's all what to say.
Hi, I'm Julia Montgomery from Revenge of the Nerds, and you're listening to Animal House Radio Show on the Hamilton Radio Network.
Perfect. Woo, all right. Perfect. Julia, God bless.
You guys are the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
thank you guys, all of you and girls.
Absolutely. If you get to the East Coast, look us up.
Yeah, let us know.
Oh, I totally will. I love going. New York is still one of my favorite cities.
Right.
And have fun with Larry in a couple minutes. He is a blast.
I sure will. Thank you so much.
Talk to him about partying. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Julia Montgomery, everybody. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to take a short 5-minute break. We'll be back with Larry B. Scott. Don't go anywhere. This is the Animal House Radio Show.
That's good that you brought up that one story about you can't say certain things on TV. The other day, one of my shows, someone comes up at the end of
Here I stand, head in hand, turn my face to the wall. Hearing them, seeing them in the state I'm in. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. Hey, you've got to hide your love away.
Record the plugs, and then during our breaks, just play the plugs. That's a good idea.
Do what? Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea. Right, at least you can play the plugs. We take our 5 minutes, and Facebook isn't kicking us off like that. Facebook's still douche nonsense.
Gee, if you want to ask a question, just get on the mic. I don't mind. Or Sandy.
My kids are always on the go. When I tell them stuff they say they know. It's a roll of the dice. If they take my advice, it's like I'm talking to myself. Do they hear the thing I say? What?
You've been doing that a lot, the My Pillow thing?
Yeah, I've done it every show since I've done. 4 times so far. It's killing. It's killing. It really is killing. It's timely. That's why. It's
I
timely.
like the Joe Cocker. That's my favorite. That became my favorite.
The My Pillow thing's killing. Let me tell you. It's killing. Because it's timely right now. People are sick of seeing that commercial.
Like one of the funniest.
What's that?
One of the stupidest things you do during your set is, to me, breaks me up every
Which
time.
one?
Can you tell me where the toothpaste is? You put those like funny teeth.
You know what's the one thing in my show is 100%. It's never not gone over. It's always killed.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Did you
Ray
ever-
Charles.
Oh, when you-
Because there's a
especially
pratfall.
when you fall.
Because there's a pratfall. That's why.
You ever hurt yourself doing it?
No, I know how to fall, but I like when there's a stage that makes a lot of sound because I can really bang it,
Like a thud.
and people go, "Ooh!" Like I got hurt. You know? I think I
right,
got hurt. Yeah, nice big wooden stage makes a big thud. Oh, I
I
love
always
it.
wanted to go up on a stage and like a hover round and then just drive right off the stage.
I heard doing that.
I would love to have Ed, like, be a wrestler and he'd be carried to the ring like
By
nature-
6 midgets?
No, yeah, but like with just.
Because
like,
that's how I want to die. When I die, I want 6 midgets.
With
to be
just
my
with just
pallbearers.
the
That,
way
you know, that was my dad's dream.
Oh my God.
Really?
Well, actually, not to carry him,
Well,
but to have
technically, that
midget
would be my
singers at
dad.
his funeral.
No, I would like you to be in like one of
Wow.
those things that they carry with like just the. Oh, we got a caller. Put
We got
him
a
up.
caller.
Put him up when you're ready, Gene. Hello, Larry.
Good afternoon. Well, good evening. This is Larry B. Scott with the Piccolo.
All right, Larry, you got him. All right, everybody, it is 9:15. Joining us now on the phone is a great actor who you know and love. I grew up watching this man on many, many TV shows and a couple of my favorite movies. Taking some time out of his busy schedule to join us here tonight is, please welcome for the first time on the Animal House Radio Show, Mr. Larry B. Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Larry, thank you
How
so.
goes it?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Come on. I was just, how goes it? I'm thrilled to be on board and just want to give a shout out to all your listeners.
Oh,
There you
well,
go.
well, they're happy to hear from you. And, well, you know what, Larry? It's a real honor because I grew up, like I said, I grew up watching you on TV. And there's something that I've been dying to say to you for at least 20, 25 years.
Okay, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
No,
Come
no,
on
it's,
with it.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
what's the matter, Reggie? You don't feel like flying today?
Wow, you went way black, like before the honey nut.
Yes, absolutely. You don't know how much I love that movie. I really do. It's one of the first ones I remember seeing you in. And, you know, and I didn't even, you know, I missed a boat on this. I didn't realize that you were in the Karate Kid as well.
Yeah, he was in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah, I think my line in Karate Kid was, "Oh."
That's great.
And they gave you a whole script for that, right?
You gave me a whole script. Study up for 3 weeks. Study down Larry Tommy.
He went to an acting coach, method actor.
Oh boy, I knew he was going to be a lot of fun. We just got off the phone with Julie, and she was such a delight. and she says to make sure that we ask you about the
Party house?
all the partying that was done on the set of Revenge of the Nerds, because she says you have some killer stories to tell us.
You know me. I'm like the State Department spokesman. I don't know nothing about nothing.
Oh my God, that's so
All
funny.
I know is we were in a town in Tucson in 1983, and there weren't even foreign cars in Tucson in 1983. So
Right.
we were a bit of an anomaly, and we had a blast. Now, I partied, but she's not really being all that truthful. She partied.
Oh.
Well, she sounds like she would.
Yeah.
If you remember, I played Lamar Luttrell.
Right.
And it's all gravy and good now, but back then, 1983,
Right.
being gay was like being a foreign car in Tucson.
Yeah, back then, gay meant happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was back when gay only meant happy.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and I was, believe it or not, I was a kind of a method actor. I always stayed in character during on the set. So all the girls thought I was gay, so that made for lots of dates.
Oh wow.
Lots of bounce house fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got to see the inside of the wall by myself many nights.
Oh my God. Larry, is it true that you, for the character of Lamar Luttrell, that you actually had to take dance and ballet lessons?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually took ballet lessons. Actually, even before then, I took dance class.
Right.
Because I'm from New York, and you had to be a well-rounded actor, so you had to be able to dance,
Right.
sing, and act. So I took dance classes, and I'll just say a lot of the inspiration I drew from my fellow dancers at the time,
Right.
Oh wow.
Right.
Okay.
who were, in your words, happy.
Extremely happy.
Oh my God. You know what? I really appreciate you taking time out, for the troops. I know they loved watching you on TV and in the movies. And I got to ask you, Larry, how did it start for you? When did Larry B. Scott know that he wanted to be an actor?
Interesting story. I was the class clown at the time. I'm sure you can't imagine that. And in 7th grade. And my social studies teacher, I'll never forget, I'll give a shout out to Joanna Bloom. That was my 7th grade social studies teacher, who said, you know what? You won't be quiet, and I think you should put some of that talent on stage. I was like, yeah, right. So she actually referred me to a theater in New York, a Moss Theater,
Right.
and said you should put some of that talent on stage. So I went down to the theater, and just so you guys know, that was a major move. I think I was early. It happened for me early, guys. I was maybe 12, 13,
Oh,
and I
wow.
took like 2 trains and a bus to
Wow.
the theater to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. My mother took
Yeah.
me one time,
Wow.
and she said, "I'm only taking you one time."
Typical New York mom. No.
Yeah.
Now you know how to get there. Go.
Exactly.
Now you know how to get there. So when I got there, they were doing the Wizard of Oz, the play.
Right.
And I got the role of broom sweeper.
Oh, wow.
And if you know the Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
there is no broom sweeper role. So
You were cleaning the stage.
I'm cleaning the stage.
I was like, who the hell is Broom Sleeper? I was like,
That part was in the Wiz.
His mother said
Well,
after
I got the-
after a couple of weeks, his mother said, "How you doing in showbiz?" "I'm cleaning up, Ma."
Yeah, so I'm sweeping the stage, and literally like 2 weeks before the show opened, the Wizard dropped out, and they said, "Hey, would you like to play the Wizard?" I just happened to know all the lines. I don't know how.
Right.
And I jumped in, and kind of the cool thing was that I didn't know the girl who was playing Dorothy. Her mom was a manager,
Oh, there
so
you
she
go.
actually came down to see her daughter.
Right.
And she saw me and said, "Hey, I think you're talented. If you ever want to act, let me know." I said, "And please forgive me. I mean nothing by this, but this is 1980s, so I'm going to keep it 100% real with you guys, not 2018. I said, "I don't think I want to be an actor because you're probably going to be like, gay or a faggot." And forgive me, I'm saying the 1983 words.
right. No, I understood.
So it was kind of interesting that, 10 years later, the biggest thing I did was playing Galo.
And you played it well.
Funny how things come back.
Yeah, you called it, man.
Larry, was your mom supportive of, like, being that she said, I'm only taking you one time? She said you're wasting your time, or did she encourage you?
No. You got to understand. My mom, I got 2 brothers, my two sisters, and 7 brothers.
Wow.
There wasn't enough time to follow behind you. It was like, so I'm going to drop you off, and I'm going back to do something else for the other kid.
Right.
It wasn't like I don't believe it. It was like, this is as much time as you get. I got to cut y'all up 9 ways.
Right.
And it was a different time. Parents let their kids roam free.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, nowadays it's a whole different.
I mean, and to make it even more interesting, I came, 2 girls, 7 boys. So that meant at 11 o'clock at night, or 10 o'clock at night, there were 11 people at home, and nobody was leaving.
Right.
That's funny.
And you want to make things even more interesting, 1 bathroom.
Oh my God!
Gosh.
It's like a deli. I pick a number.
Well, all I have to say is thank God your mother had more boys than girls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How about that? In fact, that would have been a fight, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you never got in the bathroom then.
And we literally would deal and swap times. Okay, you got to be in the bathroom at 6:15 tomorrow. I don't feel like getting up there early. Can I do 7:15? I'll trade you. Yeah, we literally did that. Yeah, 15 minutes. I was there.
That water bill must have been really high.
That's too funny.
Wow.
But I really, I had a blast doing the film. You just don't know as an actor. I've done films that, quite frankly, I thought were better at the time, but didn't get the recognition.
Right.
And if you do a great film, and gets no recognition, nobody knows about it.
Right.
We did a film, and we thought nobody was watching us, so we just tried to make each other laugh.
Right.
Fear of a Black Hat?
Oh my goodness!
I love that movie.
Nobody was watching us. Oh my goodness, Rusty! Actually, I worked with Rusty just recently. For your listeners, if you guys watch Black Jesus,
Right.
I'll be in a couple episodes of that.
Absolutely, yes.
I can't wait for that to come back finally.
So I'll be in this season's year 3, and all I'll say is I'm in a wheelchair with a gun. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh wow.
Well, if you're in a wheelchair, you better have a gun.
And so we really got lucky, Bobby and Anthony and those guys. We really got together and just tried to make it a good script. I know it sounds corny, but we really tried to make each other laugh and make the best of what we thought was a really bad script at the time.
Right.
Yeah, you know what, Larry? I always I watch those movies because that was my decade growing up, and I'm so envious of the actors on there. And I even mentioned this to Julia. Nowadays they make movies and they're great, and they just seem like a Domino's pizza. They're ready in a half hour. But when you watch a movie from the 80s, like the Revenge of the Nerds, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, they look like they had a ball making, and it looks like there was so much fun on that set. But did anybody have any idea that this movie would have blew up the way? Like, sometimes people say, I knew this was going to be big. Did you guys have any idea about that?
No clue. And if you ever speak to Bobby and Curtis, they'll give you more insight into the fact that the studio at the time hated the film.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Hated it.
Wow.
And so because of that, they actually lost money, because instead of a wide release, they did what you call a platform release, which means we'll release it graciously. If you're going to 1,200 theaters, they release it 300 theaters at a time.
Right.
And then the next weekend, the 300. That was back when you got 3 weeks in a theater. Now you get 1 week.
Right.
If you're not pulling the numbers in a week, you're yanked.
Yeah.
So so they ramped it up, and a couple things just to kind of jog your memory, that we had a lot of things that just fell in place. Like, for instance, the Olympics were in 1984. That's when it dropped. So it was the perfect anti-jock movie at the time.
Right.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And nerds weren't really the in thing. They were just becoming the in thing. Computers were just coming online.
Yeah.
So nobody really knew the whole Bill Gates thing. Nobody really knew what this was going to be at the time. We know now, looking back.
Right.
Yeah.
But in answer to your question, we thought nobody was going to watch this. We thought we were getting a free trip to Tucson for 6 weeks. That's what we thought.
I had said this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I say, and we figured we party as much as we can, and get up and go to work.
Yeah, we heard that John Goodman was the ringleader of the partying.
Yeah, that's according to Julia.
I'm not going to say yes. I'm just not going to say no.
I love him. He's from New York. He knows better.
That's funny.
But we had a blast, and we really did. I mean, you got to kind of give kudos. Anytime you do a film, it's a collective effort.
Right.
So it's never one person does it all.
Right.
And the job by the director Jeff Canoe to see those things that we all see clearly now, he saw them before any of us did.
Right.
So kudos to him.
Yeah.
Kudos to us really taking it seriously and not just trying to do a stupid movie. We really tried to make these guys real characters.
Yeah.
And I think I think that shows in any good movie. I mean, nothing beats a good movie, but nothing beats a good play. Nothing beats a good book.
Right.
When things are good, they just shine.
Yep.
It's because a whole series of elements had to come together at the same time.
Yep.
It's kind of like, it's if you've ever played Connect the Dot.
Right.
And I tell this, I teach acting also, so I tell this to my students. You don't know which dot is going to be the dot.
That's right.
It's just like when you're playing the dot. You just connect the dot, connect the dot, connect the dot, and all of a sudden oh my goodness, that's a face.
Right.
You don't know, but you know which dot it is.
You know what?
So you have to put them all together for it to make sense.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
I always tell people too. I always tell guys starting out. I say, just when you get opportunities, take the opportunities because you never know which one's going to be the one. You never know.
Come on,
enjoy
guys.
the ride.
Come on, guys. You do it all the time. From what you do, everybody. And the other thing I want to say, because you guys do it well, which you do well, is when people do stuff well, it looks easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it fools you. You think, if you look at, Clayton Kershaw, I'm out here in L.A., or Michael Jordan, these guys will make you think that jumping from the free throw line and dunking is easy because he does it all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
Kershaw can never do that.
Now get out there and do it. Yeah, you're right. Or get out there and throw a fastball at 100 miles an hour and tell me exactly where it's going to go and put it there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Larry, I like the way you put that, because you're right. The chemistry of the cast, the timing, and everything just gelled at one time, and then what happens is the cream rises to the top, and that's not the case in every movie. But those are always those standout movies that become iconic, and people remember. And I wanted to ask you, because of the topic of which was something new that they never really had covered before about people being different and stuff. I think the movie, even though it was relevant back then, I think it's even more relevant now with all the bullying and stuff going on. It makes people say, "Hey, look, we may be a little different, but we're still people. We're the same." So I think it's just as relevant now with all the nonsense going on as it was back in the 80s.
Right.
Yeah, regardless of how you want to politicize it, the bottom line is we are all different, though we are all the same.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Yep.
the quicker you get to it, I take this line from my dad because he was in the Army, and he said when a bomb explodes, it doesn't just kill black people or white people or green people. It kills people.
Right.
And if you're in the way of that blast, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it does kill.
I
was going to say. I think it does kill green people though.
Well, you know what? Then you are a step ahead of most of us.
I don't see any green people around. I think they're all dead.
You know what? I think you're right. And then when you're talking about timing and stuff, I'm gonna take you on another journey. I did a film called Space Camp.
Right. I remember.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
That was great.
Yeah, and we did a film about the space shuttle.
Right.
And it was going to be the very first film that was a realistic view of space travel and space shuttle, and they spent like $20 million on it.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And everybody was excited about it. However, literally 30 days after we completed the film, the space shuttle blew up.
Yeah, the Challenger, right.
So it kind of killed the climate for space shuttle movies. But that's what I mean by so many ducks have to line up for a hit movie.
That's right.
And you just don't know. Sometimes it's just your turn.
Yeah.
Well, $20 million for a movie back then, that was a huge budget, wasn't it?
That's a real huge, but because of all the
Oh, my God, that was ridiculous. It shut down. And to show you how many problems they were having on it, because they had major technical problems,
right.
We were shooting 3 weeks in to the movie. We were 3 weeks behind.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with a lot of
because at the time, they built, and of course, remember, you don't know. You're kind of failing forward. You're hoping you know what you're doing. They built a mock-up of a space shuttle to shoot the interior scenes of the space shuttle.
Right.
Space Camp on.
Right.
However, they built it to scale, which means it actually was the size of a space shuttle, which is great if all you're doing is flying astronauts.
Right.
If you need to put in 6 actors, a camera crew, lights, and a camera,
Yeah, it's not big enough. Yeah.
and you try to shoot it inside a closet, it's not going to work.
Right. The technology wasn't there yet to do all that. Yeah.
So it needs a reboot.
No. Yeah, so what they did, if you can imagine, is they built a Ferris wheel, and then inside the Ferris wheel, imagine a square right in the middle of the Ferris wheel.
Right.
Instead of using all of that Ferris, we just used a tiny little square.
Right.
And that was the set. And for 3 weeks, they couldn't figure out how to get the camera and the lighting in there. And literally, it was basically like doing a scene with the mic up your nose.
Right.
There was no room.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And they spent $2 million to build this contraption, and then about 2 months later, they figured out, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to put it down on the sound stage, which we've rented it for 6 weeks, and just shoot it like a regular wall, a set.
Yeah,
but they took 6 weeks to figure that out.
Yeah, that would have been a logistical nightmare. Jesus Christ,
Yeah. And I got to work with, who knew I was going to be working with the babes of Hollywood, Leah Thompson,
right,
Kate Capshaw, Kelly Preston.
Right.
And if you're not sure who they are, you definitely know who their husbands are.
No, I know who you talk. We know who you're talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And Tate Donovan and Leaf Phoenix, who was Leaf at the time,
right,
who turned into Joaquin Phoenix,
right.
You just never know who you're working with.
Yeah.
And the game is very interesting. There's so much, and you guys know because you do a radio show. There's thousands of radio shows out there. How did you guys get lucky and people like you?
Right.
It's a combination of what you guys brought up with your angle and it being the right timing and people wanting to hear it. All those things have to line up.
Right.
We take it for granted. And when they do, you create magic. When they don't, you just create another show that may not even be bad.
Right.
People just don't see it.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. All the stars have to line up, and it's not an easy thing to do. But I got to ask you, Larry, because I loved Revenge of the Nerds. Don't get me wrong. Anything from the '80s, I loved. I'd be hard pressed to find a movie that I didn't like. I got to ask you about Iron Eagle. What was it like working with Louis Gossett Jr. and being on, around all those planes and stuff?
I'm a, believe it or not, I'm actually like a little space geek and a plane geek. So I loved it.
Yeah.
I love being around in the Air Force. I love actually when we did space camp, going back and forth here, but on space camp we actually got to see a space shuttle launch.
Wow.
That was incredible.
Oh, wow.
If you've never seen a rocket launch and you can get to a launch, go to it, because we were 3 miles away, and it was the equivalent of somebody shaking your seat from 3 miles away.
Yeah, you can feel the
That's
heat.
how powerful those systems are. With Iron Eagle, we got to go out to the Air Force Base. Now, Sidney Furie, who was the director there, was an old school director, so he believed in giving the lead actor 400 takes and the side actors 1. And I remember approaching him one time and going, Sidney, you gave like Jason Gedrick like 25 takes to watch the car pull up and park. No lines. And I said, well, I'm telling you, like, your dad's dead. Like, 1 line.
Oh, my God.
And he said, when your name is Jason Gedrick, you'll get all the takes.
Oh my God.
Jeez. Oh, that's funny.
And the game that's when I realized the game is the money.
Right.
If you are the star, you get, to the winner go the spoils.
Right.
Right.
To Lou Gossett, they got to work as much as they want. And Lou Gossett, I was just in, that was after Officer and the Gentleman, so I was just in awe.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, yeah.
To be working with him.
Yeah. With those movies, Larry, did you have it like with the certain directors? Did you have any leeway to do any ad-libbing on some of your roles, or you pretty much had to stick to the script?
I think before Revenge of the Nerds, no leeway. After Revenge of the Nerds, these guys are like, hey, I think you could be funny every once in a while. You go ahead and do what you do. We'll kind of ballpark you, but if you can find something funnier, say it. And my acting teacher told me, if you can come up with something better, do it. If not, stick with the script.
Right.
So that's kind of been my mantra.
Right.
I'm not trying to go off book, but if something in my crazy brain sparks and it makes me laugh, generally if it makes me laugh, you guys like it.
Right.
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 Exactly.
And that's when the best magic happens, when it happens by accident too, or something's different.
Well, I'm going to relay a lot to what you guys do. When you make each other laugh, you generally make others laugh.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
without a doubt.
But that's also magic, and it takes a long time to get to that point. You know, you just, you know, you and some directors will give you no leeway, like Sidney Fury, until you do something funny, and then they go, okay, you know what, you can have a second take.
Right.
It's almost like Oliver Twist when you wanted to ask for seconds. You want more?
Exactly. Exactly. And when it works, then you know you can't give them enough.
Right.
Right.
You know, so and I think you're right. We kind of, you know, looking back, you don't know, you know, you're nostalgic, but you didn't realize how much fun you had till you look back. And you go, wow, we had a blast. And the second one for me was more fun because the first one had come out, now people knew us.
Right.
The second one, I'm talking nerds now, was in Fort Lauderdale, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
We had a blast. We lost our mind, but I got lucky. I got on a, you know, like a 2.5-year run at that point where every film I dropped was in the top 10.
Right.
So I got really lucky, got a lot of notoriety, and if you can remember, there was no HBO or cable, so there was no other outlet. So and when I was on TV, there was only 3 networks: ABC, CBS, and Network.
Right.
So and
NBC
and ABC.
Yeah.
ABC, NBC, and CBS. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. So when you did something on TV, the whole country saw you.
That's true.
Right.
You know, so I did like Barney Miller. I did St. Elsewhere. I did the Jeffersons. I did Jamie Foxx, Martin, and now there's so many networks and stations out there. It's hard to keep up. But back then, when you did something that came on TV, like I did a movie of the week, everybody saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's all you could see. You had no option.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say it's like back in the day. I did the Johnny Carson show a long time ago, and back then that had so much clout. Now there's so many Tonight shows and so many kinds of late night shows. It does no big. There's no big.
There's no one standout. Like,
yeah, you don't get noticed that easily.
Exactly.
Plus, Johnny doesn't do the show anymore.
Doing late night, exactly. If you think I'm doing late night TV, they go, which channel?
Right.
As opposed to then, it only meant Johnny Carson.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And if you did Carson, that was a badge of honor. That was a high distinction. It wasn't like, you know, hey, I was on a Tonight Show, like nowadays. But now you said, when you did Carson, you knew you've arrived.
Your phone would ring off the hook.
I'd have to disagree with you, though, Larry. I don't think for you it was luck. I think it was talent, and they just realized it.
Well, luck. You have the talent. The talent makes you last.
And timing. And
talent makes you last, but the luck as far as getting the break. But talent makes you last once you get that break.
Dave, you have a question.
Yeah.
Hey, Larry, how are you? Dave Hodge. Quick question now.
Hey, Dave.
You had a very wide range in your roles. Like, how did you go from, like, Lamar to, like, the CO in Butter?
That was another one where I had a whole bunch of lines.
Yeah.
I just always want to do different things. I mean, as an actor, you know, and forgive me if this is my teaching hat on right now. You know, your job is to be a joystick, and if you know anything about a joystick, what direction does it move in?
Any way you want.
Exactly. So as an actor, we as actors want to do as many different and varied roles as possible.
Right.
The pressure comes from the money, which you want to make and need to, because sometimes the money will tell you, we'll pay you this much to do this role.
Right.
Now, as an actor, you still want to do 15 roles, but they ain't giving you $15 million for those other 14 roles.
Right.
They're giving you $15 million to do this one role 5 times.
Right.
Now, as an actor, you don't really like it, but your pocket and your family loves it. So you got to make a decision.
Right.
Well, I think you got. I think you got fortunate in the fact that I think a lot of actors, you know, they just want to work and they want to earn a paycheck, but they fall into the trap of being stereotyped. That didn't happen when because you played so many different diverse characters that you actually avoided that.
I got lucky, and I actually like to give credit to my manager and my agent at the time, because they really, really worked hard on that. Because I remember distinctly, after I did Revenge of the Nerds, I had basically had an offer to do Mannequin, which was another movie kind of area.
I love that.
It meant redoing Lamar, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I just did Lamar.
Right.
Right. Now you did the movie Spring Break. You played Lamar, but was that a spin-off of the Nerds character, or is that just happened to be your name was Lamar?
That happened to be Lamar. Obviously, they couldn't. They needed the blessings from 20th Century, which they didn't. So they kind of skirted it. And really, was a friend of mine named Mars, who actually brought me, and I just did a favor for him.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes that's how things happen. He said, "Man, can you do me a favor? Can you just be Lamar for a hot second in my film?" I was like, He said, "I can pay you this." I was like, "I'll be there Thursday."
Right.
That's great.
I need to book you for a show Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know. It pays this much. All right, I'll be there. Okay. What time?
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll never do that stuff. Never, ever.
Yeah. I think you were lucky to have it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think you were lucky to have a teacher that saw, gave you the right direction, because that's what did it. You know, that teacher. You know.
And that's good old Queens IS 238. For you guys up here from Queens.
Yeah.
I went to a public school, and it all went to public school for me. And and kudos to teachers for even thinking something like that for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. She
People
focused
do
you.
that.
Yeah.
She focused your energy. She focused you to the right direction.
I'm glad to hear that you said you're doing acting now. You're teaching acting?
Yeah, I teach out in Los Angeles at T-Saw Workshops, Tasha Douglas Workshops, and I teach on Thursday nights out there. But I also direct, write, and produce. Once you're in this game, for me, I love filmmaking. I love creating. So I just kind of bounce around to different venues, either in front of or behind the camera, whatever's necessary, to keep yourself eating and keep moving, keep relevant.
What's your favorite thing to do out of all the things you do?
I still love acting, but I really like directing.
Yeah.
I like producing too. There are different things. I ran a soundstage for a couple of years, and when I say I've done everything I literally, I built sets. I'm a set carpenter too. So, you mean like the Jamaican thing? We got 19 jobs. So I try to stay busy, and you have to, because and once again, I relate it to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
If in between doing the show, you still got to eat, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So you got to figure out things that allow you to do that don't take you so far away that you never get back to it, basically.
Right.
Oh wow. Dave, you had another question?
For your school, what age ranges do you teach?
They do 18 and over.
Okay.
It's really, really, really for folks who are trying to learn how to break into the game and want to work on that level, so that if the opportunity arises, you can do that.
Right. Nice.
Well, that's good to know, because Dave's son is an aspiring actor, and we want to make sure that we steer him in the right direction. So if he's out in LA, I'll make sure that he looks you up, because
in a couple of years.
I'm not going to be nice to him.
Hopefully not.
Be nice to him. I'm going to, I'm going to tell him the
would
truth.
You be Dave's?
I mean, quite frankly, that's why you pay me. Don't pay me to lie to you.
Good. I want
Unless
that.
it's a lot of money, then I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. No.
No lies.
No,
Harsh truth.
He needs that tough love. Believe me.
Well, all actors need discipline. You need discipline in acting. You really do. You need to know. You need to know what to do.
Well, what you have to do is you have to develop a set of tools, and this is kind of all across the board, so that whatever situation you run into, hopefully you have the right tool in your box to handle it.
Right.
And I guess that's more of a life thing. That's more of an army thing for my dad. You got to be versatile. And back when I grew up, nowadays it's very specialized. All you have to do is be a YouTube star.
Right.
Back then, like I said, you had to be able to dance, sing, and act. And if you couldn't, they didn't even want to talk to you.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Wow. And by the way,
so that was just the way. That was the thought process back then.
Yeah.
You're right. You had to say yes to everything. Oh, can you ride a horse? Of course I can.
Yeah.
Can you shoot a gun? I can shoot a gun. Whatever you want me to do, I can do it.
Yeah.
I literally did a film called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and they said, "Can you ride a horse?" I was like, "Yep." And I got on the horse and said, "I ain't never been on a horse in my life."
Oh, that's
told
funny.
the stuntman, "You might want to show me what to do."
Oh my God, that's too funny. But Larry, I wanted to mention that wanted to thank you for your dad's service in the military, because it's very important for us here. Dave here, one of my co-hosts, he's an Army veteran, and of course the show is broadcast on Armed Forces Radio Network. So thank you to your dad for his service.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of which, unfortunately, not to be a downer, but I just lost him 2 weeks ago, and we just went to a military funeral, and I got to tell you, I had no clue how cool a military funeral was, because we were out in Long Island in 30-degree weather, and they were playing taps, and I'm looking for the tape player. No, man, it's actually a trumpet guy right there playing taps.
Oh wow, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, sorry.
Very sorry.
Hey, he was 93. He had a great life. If I get 93 out of this,
Yeah, right?
I can't even do that.
Which cemetery was that? Did you bring that to out in Farmingdale?
Oh, don't start me to lying. If you name it, I could tell you. But I was more in the crying mode
Right.
than I was in the,
Right.
taking stock and lock of everything. And I thought what was really impressive was that on that 28-degree day in the middle of nowhere, when we pulled into the cemetery, there were people standing outside holding flags before you even pull into the cemetery.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Well, it's you know what? I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's the least they can do for the men and women that make their sacrifices for this country. So.
Yeah, and you don't. I mean, until you're there, you don't understand the power of the words when they say, and on behalf of the President of the United States of America and the United States Air Force, we want to thank you for his service. It just tears you up. And if you've never been to a military service, the folding of the flag is just incredible.
Yeah, it is.
If you've never done it, it sounds really stupid, guys out there who've never done it. But to watch those two guys fold the flag, the precision, the time they take, and then you add 28 degrees to that.
Right.
And they don't have any heavy jackets. It's amazing, and it really makes you realize that when the military does it right, man, it's incredible.
Yeah, I only saw it on TV, but it looks. I can imagine what it must. Not that you want to see any of our servicemen or women, be buried, but it must be a very.
But it's a sad and happy moment. I've been on both sides of that.
Right.
So I used to do funerals when I was in the Army.
You're sad, and you're also.
You're sad, but you have this sense of pride. It's like a total mix of emotions that's like perfect.
Right.
And
it blew me.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it blew me away because my dad, we would go to the base, but my dad wasn't active by the time I was old enough to know what was going on.
Right.
So, he had a regular job. He worked 20 years for the police department.
Right.
So it's, you don't have in your reference, I don't see dad as military. I see photos of him, but, I never saw him that.
Right.
I never saw him dressed as that, and if I did, I was like 3, so I don't remember.
Right.
But when you go to the funeral, you realize that these people have put their service and their life on the line for this country, and thank God they did. So we can shoot around and shoot the right now because of this.
Absolutely.
And I think it's cool, that you're on Armed Forces Radio right now. And
very,
I know it's sad, but it's like almost God sent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never even thought about that connection till literally right now. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Figure only a girl would think like that.
Well, you know what, Larry? So
and you know what? I'm glad you're there because you need a little bit of estrogen to keep all that testosterone in check over there.
That's
yeah,
right.
she definitely does. She's a Sicilian from Brooklyn, so you ain't getting nothing over on her, Larry.
It's hard for her to get a word in because we got 5 comedians here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Exactly.
Well, another thing that I do, you guys may or may not know, is I also write, and coach for comedians. I've been fortunate enough to be funny every once in a while. So a lot of times, and actually, I worked with a guy named Michael Collier. You guys may or may not know him.
I know he is. Yeah, I know Michael. Yeah, Michael's been around a long time.
Star Search.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won Star Search back in the early '80s, man. We won the $100,000.
Right.
Awesome.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I'm surprised I didn't pick up on that because you seem like the perfect person to do comedy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he writes
as
it.
An actor, look, I write it, and I coach it. Yeah. I do enough of it to sell it, if that makes any sense. So guys say, look, this is funny. Oh, that ain't funny.
Right.
You have to go up on stage. So you guys know. You got to go up on stage and do it. Saying it's funny is one thing. Being funny is a whole nother.
Right.
Exactly
right.
Exactly. Wow.
And I don't know what you guys are doing, but I don't know any of you troops will be in Detroit the week of May 16th through the 18th. But Julie and I will be at the Comic-Con.
Jay, she was talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Are you going to be getting to the East Coast at all, Larry?
I actually obviously just came back from there but I usually get there 2 to 3 times a year.
Right.
As my agent would say, my talents are available to the highest bidder.
That's great.
And of course, when you come to the East Coast, you have to have a slice of pizza, right? You have to.
Oh man, I can't tell you how much I miss the. I'm from Queens. I can't tell you how much I miss pizza.
Well, if you get back to the East Coast, the first pizza's on us.
Yeah, that's it.
The whole pie.
You know what? I'm gonna hold y'all to that. I got a big family.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Hopefully you come to one of the conventions. They have a couple of them here in New Jersey, And it would be an honor to meet you and to talk to you because, you know, you're a regular guy, and I love everything you've done. And, you know, it was an honor to have you on the show. And I want you to know, and I mean this, and no BS, Larry, you have an open door anytime that you have anything that you want to talk about, promote. You have an open door. You consider yourself a member of the family.
Oh, thank you so much. I come from the Sicilian side.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
right.
you fit right in.
So, yeah, from the sole of the heel of the boot.
That boot has a lot of soul in it, believe me, let me tell you. But Larry, do you have anything going on right now? You said you're doing what, the Black Jesus? Is it
the new
series?
season.
Yeah.
The new season.
Yep, that's on Adult Swim. If you guys are unfamiliar, it comes on Adult Swim. I'll be in the 3rd season. I'll be in a couple episodes. I'm not going to tell you when, because then you would only watch when I was on.
Oh, no, I watched that. I watched that show. It's an Aaron McGruder show. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, then you already know.
Oh, yeah.
It's really funny. And believe it or not, Rusty Cundiff directed a lot of this year's episodes.
Oh,
he called me up, and we got together again.
That's so cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is really cool.
So you're going to see a lot of people from Fear of a Black Hat in it this year.
Even better.
You know, it's like they say, Larry, it's a big, small business.
Yeah, it is.
It all comes back around all the time, man.
You know what?
It really is. And, of course, if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at lbz.17. That was when I thought it was cooler because you just come with a cool name, not your own damn name. But it's L. So listen to this spelling. LBEEVEE 17 at yahoo.com. That was probably after about 4 or 5 margaritas. That seemed like a brilliant idea.
Oh, that's so funny. You know, I tried to before I met Rob, I had tried to schedule you to get on the show, and the contact information I got for you was all outdated. I kept emailing this guy called eBug.
That's funny.
I don't even know who that was. It's on your IMDb profile, and I was like, and then I tried to call the number, and it was disconnected.
There you go. That's more fake news.
So big news right there. But of course, if you need to reach me, we'll talk about that after the show's over, and I'll give you the direct contact so you guys never have a problem or an issue. Or if I'm back there and I'm going to do a seminar with Coach, I'll let you know. I'll come by and watch you guys show.
Wow, that'd be awesome.
You come in the studio and be on with us.
We're in mid-Jersey.
Yeah, we're down in South Jersey near Princeton.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in Princeton, are you?
No, we're outside of Princeton. We're near Princeton.
Yeah.
We're near Princeton.
We're close to Camden.
That's hilarious.
It's like top secret.
I would have a blast if I'm in the area. I'll come by and mess with you guys' heads and talk to the troops. I love talking to the troops.
Yeah, you're fun.
Because and I didn't think this made any sense until I did Iron Eagle, and you're out in the Mojave Desert, and all you have is a radio.
Oh,
That's
man.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
The radio and sun. Then you go, wait a minute. This is where guys. So if you're out in, you're an outpost, on base in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what the code is here, so I don't know if I can say blue words.
Oh yeah,
we're uncensored.
Totally uncensored.
You can fucking say whatever you fucking want.
Now you got me.
Now we
You
tell
can
them
have
at
some
the
mushrooms
end.
out by the Joshua tree. You'll be all right.
Oh my goodness! Here I am converting everything.
No, not at all. You can
That's
say whatever
funny.
you want.
Uncensored here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I will not. Now done got this far.
It's too late to turn back now.
You're going to be remaining a gentleman. No.
Yeah, I'll remain a gentleman.
I say, Larry, get it out of your system. Just let it out. Go ahead.
Okay, just one time. I used to say when somebody saw me, they used to always say, and I'll go back in Nerds, just to kind of go back for a second.
Right.
When I did Nerds, one of the interesting things was, obviously I played gay.
Right.
And, now that's funny. It's funny as fuck right now.
Right.
But back then, my name with the brothers was, that's him. Yeah, they weren't cool with that shit. They weren't cool with that at all.
Yeah. What's this gay guy doing in Tucson, Arizona?
in Tucson, Arizona. And then back then, kind of have to realize once again the class was different. Brothers weren't getting a lot of roles.
Oh, my
So,
God.
I mean, it was like they were dropping a brother once every 10 years.
Oh,
LeVar
jeez.
Burton,
Right, right.
Denzel Washington, in a decade.
Oh, my
Morgan Freeman.
That's
You
it.
know, and so they were mad at first, but then once they realized, I think, like you said, once they realized that I was doing, more than just Lamar as an actor,
Right.
that's when it kind of calmed down. They were like, "Oh, you're an actor." I was like, "Yeah, like I'm an actor." Yeah. And I also got lucky because back then you only had to act like you were gay.
Right.
Now you got to prove you're gay.
He's right.
You
He's
got
right.
to take something off, show something.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
especially if you're working for Weinstein.
Yeah. Right. Oh my God. I can't.
Don't worry, he's not casting anymore. You can say it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Oh, Larry, it was such a pleasure talking to you, and I really hope we get to meet someday and hang out with you. You know, like I said, you have an open door. I would ask you to do me a small favor before we let you go.
No problem.
Would you do the station ID for us?
Come on with it. Just make sure you have that $25,000 check in the mail.
Absolutely.
As long as you don't mind rubber.
I had one friend say, "Look, if you'll take a $25,000 check, I'll write it."
I'll send you a nice feather boa that Lamar could add to his collection.
Yeah.
He said it'll be pretty and everything. You won't be able to do shit with it.
Yeah. It was a bag check cost. It's $35.
Yeah, right.
Not if it's from a closed account.
But
So whatever you guys need, I'm here for you.
what I need you to do is just introduce yourself. Say, hey, this is Larry B. Scott from Revenge of the Nerds and Iron Eagle, and you're listening to the Animal House Radio Show on the Hamilton Radio Network.
You might want to write it down.
Perfect.
He's gonna get it in one take, I bet.
Well, hold on. What I'm gonna do is I think I actually was smart enough to make sure I could read it.
Animal
So
House.
and now hold on. Now it only says with my man Carlo.
You could do
Well,
that
Mario.
one too. You
So
could
am
do
I-
that. You could do either or. You could do both of them. Whatever you feel comfortable with. That was just one I sent to Julia. If you want to do that one for me, and then do the one for the network, that's fine.
Okay, and the network is that's okay. I see what you're saying. I can do them both. All right, whatever's better for you.
I do.
Okay, the Animal House Radio Show on the Hamilton Radio Network.
Just whenever you're ready, you just
I got it.
count yourself down and go.
Okay, in 3, 2. Hey guys, this is Larry B. Scott from Revenge of the Nerds. You remember me, Lamar Luttrell? Party, party, party. Well, I am glad that you are listening to the Animal House Radio Show on Hamilton Network, and make sure you come tune in again because we got some crazy shit for your ass, dog.
That was great. That was
That
great.
was epic.
And then I'm sorry, I can do the clean version if you need to.
No, that's good.
That's
No,
right.
that's
like that.
fine.
That was
We
perfect.
love that version better. The hell with the clean version.
Yeah. Fuck those people.
As
And
Ed,
then
would,
I-
as Ed
I-
Ruffalo
I'll
would
do
say,
the
we don't
second
need no
one.
clean version.
Yeah, you could do the other one that
Okay,
one.
he's not here to say.
Okay, and I'll do this one clean.
Go ahead.
All right. Hey, guys, this is Larry B. Scott. You probably know me as Lamar Luttrell from Revenge of the Nerds, Party, 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 or Taste T from Fear of a Black Cat. I'm going to bust a chop in your ass. Well, I just want to say, you'll listen to the Animal House Radio Show. My man, Carlo Wild Thing Valario. Don't touch that dial. We're coming back with the funny.
Wow.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Now do your duty and tap that booty.
Larry, God bless. Thank you so much, and thank you for. I know we went longer than we were supposed to, but I appreciate you hanging in there with us.
No problem. My bill will reflect my job.
And so will our pay.
Thank you so much. Anytime you want to come on, please let me. I'll contact you after the show's over, and we can keep in touch. And if you get to the East Coast, I'm definitely gonna live up to my promise about the pizza.
If you want,
I love that. And
yeah.
one last thing, just to mess with you guys' minds.
Mm-hmm.
On the business side of my brain, I'm involved in a project.
Okay.
That only makes two things, and I want to put this out to the military because I'm looking for takers.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
It only makes water and power. It's the perfect green device. One of them, about the size of a gas station, powers an entire neighborhood, and it fits into a truck container. It's called the AWE.
What's it called?
I'm very serious about this. It's called AWE, Atmospheric Wind Extractor. I'm putting this out because somebody on that side needs this technology. Our troops need water and power in forward operating bases where it's unavailable.
Absolutely.
This provides that.
Do you ever see those Econo cubes they have? Those are like that too.
Yeah, but this one produces power on utility scale level.
Right.
Oh,
That's the difference.
Right.
So you guys reach out to me, Larry B. Scott. Reach out to me on Facebook. You got me, Larry B. Scott at Facebook. If you're serious, message me. We'll talk. If you're not serious, thank you very much for loving me. Still love you. Ain't fucking with you, but thank you.
Love you, Larry.
But for serious business prospects, I really am here to try and help and change the world and make it better.
And you do. You do it by acting and anything you're involved in. And it was, like I said, it was our honor to have you
And if
on.
you have a link after, you could send it to us and we'll promote it.
Yeah, I'll put it on all our pages and make sure we get it out there for you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
I'm going to go back to my. You guys have a great day. I'm going to go back to my salt and pepper pistachio nuts. So waiting here patiently.
All right.
And my girlfriend's going, stop eating those pistachio nuts.
Thank you so much,
I
Larry.
can't help it. I love it. I'm from Queens.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Larry B. Scott. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys have and my favorite thing. It's been a blast. Once again, big up to the troops. Thank you for what you do. We can't thank you enough. My dad put it on the line, so I know what you guys do firsthand. Without you, there'd be no us. And keep protecting us so we can say the stupid shit we want to say whenever we want to say it.
Yes.
That's an incredible right to protect, and folks like you die for it. I know you think we don't care, but we do. We do, and I just want you guys to know that we care about you. This show is just to take you out of where you are right now so you can have some fun. So you can keep doing the damn job you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Here, Larry. Yep. I second that one.
Yep.
But
so keep doing it. I wish you all a good and plenty. And if you need anything, reach out to me. I'm here to help.
Same here.
You got it, Larry.
Back at you.
Great talking to you. Larry B. Scott, give it up.
Thank you, sir.
Woo! Have a good night.
Take care, guys.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be back. Don't go nowhere. We got another 25 minutes of show. This is the Animal House Radio Show. got 17 minutes.
Oh.
I'll make it happen.
Oh, is this like a New York minute or New Jersey?
Gene, I think you cut me off before when I was trying to sign out. Because I heard the mic go dead.
How dare you?
All right, we ready?
How you going to punish yourself? Listen to one of Jerry Petito's shows.
There you go. Are we back online? All right, we're back here live on the Animal House Radio Show. Great interviews. I want to thank again Julia Montgomery, Larry B. Scott, and Rob Lowe for making this happen.
Low.
It was a real pleasure tonight. Once again, remind you guys that tonight's show is brought to you in part by Francesca's Deli, 2119 Whitesville Road in Toms River, New Jersey. I just finished eating my sandwich and I can't put it down.
Not only that, we all went back for seconds.
Yeah, that Ross, let me tell you, that sandwich tray is gone. Everybody loves, you know how some people don't like coleslaw. Everybody ate the coleslaw and the macaroni salad. So
and the parsley on the side.
Yeah.
And don't you want to say hi to some of our listeners today?
I took a bite out of the tray.
Mary, Kelly, Ralph.
Oh yeah.
Kurt,
Well,
Steve.
Go ahead, do it.
I'm doing it. Steve.
Well, say their names.
I don't know how to say this one. Cheyenne. And who else? Let's see.
Is that the guy that
Danny
you were just
Williams?
That's the guy I was announcing with
Jack
this weekend.
Hoffman.
Hey, Jack, how are you?
So, and Sharon and Maureen,
And,
and a lot of other people. Thank you.
Mary. I want to thank you all. Make sure if you're on the link on our page, for Nashville Universe, please vote for me. Vote! Yeah, you can vote every day. I didn't know this. I know it's a pain in the ass because you got to pick a lot of categories.
And the link is on our live feed, so all you have to do is click on that.
So there's 3 categories I need you to please concentrate on, and share them on your pages as well.
Vote, share, win.
Radio Personality of the Year, myself. Hamilton Radio is Radio Station of the Year, and Best Song of the Year, Bonfire by Anne Marie Paserno, Gene Pirro, and Bob McGilpin. So please put us over the top. Let's do a hat trick and win all 3 categories.
Ooh, a hat trick. I like hat tricks.
And remember, go to Francesca's Deli, 732-363-5555 for your what did you call it before? The regatta pie, pizza game, anything you need for this Sunday. Ross has got it, and if you mention Animal House Radio, you get a discount. So definitely check that out. All right, right now I'm going to turn it over to my consigliere, Paul Vanier, the Comedy Tornado.
Hey.
Paul, what are you going to do now? A Beatles?
Do a Beatles song.
Go right ahead.
If you feel like singing along, join in.
All right,
It's from the Rubber Soul album.
Okay.
I don't know this one.
I can finish eating now.
I've just seen a face I can't forget. Time or place that we just met. It's just a girl for me, and I want all the world to see we've met. Da-da-da. Might have been another day. I might have looked the other way. I would never have been aware. As it is, I'll dream of her tonight. Lie-di-di-di-di-di. Falling, yes I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again. I have never known the likes of this. I've been alone and I have missed things and kept out of sight. Other girls were never quite like this. Lie-di-di-di-di-di. Falling, yes I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Falling, yes I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Oh, falling, yes I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again.
Yeah.
Little Beatles.
Who are they?
Sing another one.
They're that boy band from the 60s.
I haven't finished eating yet. No. All right, Gisela,
What do you want to do?
let's do your inquiring minds now.
Okay.
Put
so
it out there in case any of the listeners want
I
to.
already had. You should have the Mary call in, and she
Mary
sees the number.
DeFiore. Mary, I
DeFiore,
swear to
she
God.
called in
Mary,
and
Mary,
answered
quite
that.
contrary.
Mary, I swear to God, I mailed out your book this week. I swear to God. It
You
should be
swear to
there any
God.
day.
You know she had a little lamb, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, whose fleece was white as snow.
Yeah.
So okay, we're gonna go with the first
I'm not
question.
gonna pull the wool over my
What's the
eyes.
song of the year?
You can't pull the wool over Mary. She's from Southie in Boston.
If you could choose one hobby now, perhaps money or time would be the reason you couldn't. What hobby would it be?
Ed? Besides rolling hookers.
I do that now.
That's hardly a hobby, though.
Yeah, I wish I could learn how to count cards.
That's not
I
hard
like
to do.
blackjack.
That's just plus or minus. That's
That's
not
easy.
hard.
Yeah, I'm stuck at that. I failed algebra in high school. I didn't pay any mind to that.
I did too.
You remember to play with 6 decks. You just got
For
to
me,
count.
it's easy because I have an eidetic
6
memory.
decks. I don't even have a full deck.
That's why I always do well when I play cards.
You just count the 10 Jack, Queen, King, Aces. That's what you count.
And if anybody wants to know, Mary wants to be a professional dancer.
Well, we have a poll. Come on down.
Tell her, come on down. I got the lap she can practice in.
There you go. Have lap, will travel. A hobby.
Wait, what's Mary look like?
So what's your hobby? You didn't say.
Yeah, that's what I said, counting cards.
Oh, counting
He
cards.
wants to
Okay.
count cards.
So gambling.
Yeah.
Gambling. Okay. Mine would be landscaping. That's what I like to do if I'm not performing. I like to landscape around the house.
My God, it takes you 3 months just to do your yard for the summer. By the time you're done, it's winter.
Summer's over. I miss the whole summer most of the time.
I call him up. I go, Paul, did you work in the yard today? I go. He goes, yeah. I go, you get a lot done. No, I'm not even wet.
Well, last year I got a late start because of the weather.
I just did one bush.
No.
Do you do like animals with the bushes? Or?
No, I don't do that.
What do
I
they
don't get
call
the
that?
horticulture that
What,
way.
the apiary or what do they call
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Some-
no.
But you go to Paul's house and you walk to the back to his pool area, and then bushes are like in The Shining. You know them big bushes where the kid was running through the snow, and you
Right.
can bear. If you can't get through there, you gotta hack your way through with this.
That's the idea.
What do you call it? A sickle?
Machete.
The
Machete.
machete. Yeah.
Both.
But
What about you? What would you do, Carlo?
a hobby? I like what I do now with the collectibles and stuff, but I would
that's a
like,
hobby.
I
But
would
it's
like to
so-
learn how to fly and be
Okay,
like, you
that's
know,
cool.
stuff
be
like
nice.
Dave,
that.
open that window. We'll throw him out.
I want to become a pilot.
That's the way to do it. You just gotta learn.
What about Dave?
I want a hobby horse.
Dave
want a hobby horse?
got killed
Really?
by a chicken truck.
I would like to offer my lap for dancers all over the world. That sounds good. I'm in.
Because you're altruistic.
Yeah, very altruistic.
That was a really.
He's a
hard-
giver.
I
He's a
care.
giver.
I'm a giver.
So you want to be a professional lapper?
Yes, I want to be. I want to be a fluffer for the lap dance room.
And I want to be a ballroom dancer.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's I like.
My wife always wanted to get lessons, go to one of
Yeah,
those
me
things
too.
and do
They
lessons.
have one now. Shall we dance?
Yeah, yeah.
Right next to the mall.
You know what?
Yeah.
I wanted to do that, but it's very, very expensive.
So I
They
just have to
charge
go
an
by
arm and a-
myself. That's
No,
all.
they charge you a lot of money to take one lesson, and then they try to sign you up for this like multi package deal.
Well, you want to do tango too.
That tango is definitely what you want to learn.
Absolutely.
I can.
I learned
You don't want to just
Merengue.
waltz and do the Charleston. You want to be
Merengue
able
was
to
fun.
tango.
I could do a basic, but when it comes to
Foxtrot?
all those, I got 2 left feet.
I could do the Fat Man Bob.
So you keep going to the left then.
I could do like rerun on what's happening, but after that,
I still haven't seen Carlo dance, and he said he's the best dancer.
He got a trophy for it in prison.
That's right, you son of a bitch.
And a lot of special dates.
Yeah, right.
He was very popular.
Very.
I have the little
Especially
black
Popped up
book.
everywhere. No.
He was the queen of the prom.
So what was that?
Okay, so let's go. But the second question is, are you a sunrise, daylight, or night person? And just say why.
We're all comedians. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I know, but,
Well, even
if
before
you
I
had
got
a
into
choice, you
comedy,
would
I was
rather be
always
a night?
a nighthawk for me. I can't stay up like I used to. It's
He's
more.
Dick Grayson.
I'm like a more.
That was
before-
Nightwing.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
What do you think I am, Carlo? What do you think I am?
This guy goes
He's
to
a
bed
night
at
owl.
5, and by 9 o'clock he's up again. He's a fucking freak. I don't know what the hell.
I'm not far off of that though. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
Paul, you up? No, I'm just laying in bed checking my emails.
Well, it came in handy one
He
time.
eats
I
every
needed
day
it.
at 3 o'clock. He has peanut butter and fucking jelly. That's
no,
what he.
not 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't eat.
No,
I don't eat
in the
after
afternoon.
9 usually.
He gets hungry around 3
Unless
o'clock.
he's here.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, that's
Not,
what I
not
said,
night. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely a nighthawk.
But I was a night person way before I became a comedian.
Yeah.
I remember being a baby and I would never go to sleep. I couldn't go to sleep. I was up at night.
like
And my
jokes.
parents finally said they gave me my own room upstairs. They gave me a TV set. Says don't wake us up.
Right.
So that's,
I mean, we had to go to
The
bed early
old-fashioned
when I
way.
was a kid, but when I was out clubbing, we used to come home at 6, 7 in the morning. My mother was going to work, and I was coming home, going to bed. She's
Right.
like, it's nice of the Rat Pack to bring you home. That's so. I was always like that. And they didn't care. They didn't call you alive because it was just that.
Because they didn't have cell phones in the 70s.
yeah.
No, but it was just that trust that he's a guy. He could take care of himself. If I had a sister or something,
That'd be
it would have been
different.
a lot of different.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
And Dave, I'm sure you're going to join the rest of them with
Yeah,
the night.
I'm definitely a night person.
Yeah.
But I love the sunshine.
Yeah.
I do too.
I mean, I can get
I just
up
like
early.
I just like when the sun's
to.
first coming up. I don't like when it first comes up.
Like if they
It's
made
like,
we need to make the day like an extra 3-4 hours longer. That'd be perfect. I can get a nice nap in between, and I can enjoy the daytime and the nighttime.
If I see the daylight, I won't be able to fall asleep. It's like a weird thing. If I come home.
he's weird.
So I'm the opposite. When I'm driving home late at night from a show,
Yeah, he puts on.
I have to get home before the sun comes up. I was like, I have to get my coffin. You know, that's what it feels like. You know.
Gene, get this. We're driving home from Baltimore. He puts on meditation fucking music. I said, what are you, nuts? I heard it for 30 seconds. It was like what? It was like
You don't even
what's
need
it called?
any
Stars
music.
End or something.
Stars End, yeah.
Stars End. It's like this weird new age music where it feels like you're in an elevator.
But in all fairness, all you have to do is put Carlo in a car like a little child, and he'll fall asleep.
He always right to sleep,
weird.
even when he's driving.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't fall asleep at home, but as soon as I get in the car, out.
But it's the motion.
Yeah.
Some people, that's what it does.
Well, I working with him and hanging with him for the past so many years. He drinks orange juice and crumb cake to wake up. In February, he eats fucking ice cream. We pulled over to get gas. He's like, I want an ice cream cone. I'm like, I'm over there like I got icicles hanging from my skin.
Well, they say
But Carlo,
ice cream
when you have the
makes
ice
you
cream, it
warm.
evens out the body
Yeah.
temperature.
That's
when it's cold
right.
out.
That's
Are
right.
you
Yeah.
serious?
I even knew that.
had no idea.
Hot soup in the
about that.
summer, perfect.
Yeah. What about
It
you,
evens
Ed?
out the inside and the outside core.
Night, morning, afternoon.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I love daytime. I love laying out in the sun. I love the fact that I work outdoors all day. But at night, I was.
Ed, you are the sun.
I'm the moon.
Are you night? Are you more night or more morning though? What are you more night or day?
It depends.
What do you like better?
I like. I don't know. I like mid
He
afternoon.
likes the nightlife and he likes
I
the
always
boogie.
always had the best sex in mid afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't stay up like I used to.
It's late at night.
There'll be nights
This is
when
the afternoon for him.
there'll be nights when I go to bed around 3 or 4, but I can't do it like I used to. I used to
No.
love staying up all night.
I think it depends if you have a regular job and you have to get up early in the morning. That's different. Then you're
I
forced
mean,
to.
I can function. I can wake up early. I don't like it, but I could do it.
I used to be a morning person, and recently
This one was up at 5
I'm
o'clock
up.
in the morning drinking coffee. Like,
Yeah, but now it's like weird. We're changing roles. I'm up and he's sleeping. Like now I'm a night.
Well, if you ever need a wake up call at 5 in the morning, I'll call you before I go
Yeah.
to sleep.
But I'm up.
just tell Paul to tell you when fucking Columbo's on. He'll text you all night. Oh, the episode with Lauren Bacall was on.
The other one with Faye Dunaway last week was
Faye
great.
Dunaway, yeah.
That was a good one.
Speaking of, I just watched Mommy Dearest. It was on the other night.
Oh my God, she was great in that.
That was amazing. You know what? They had I don't know if you guys seen it. But I think it was FX. They had the feud. It was about Betty Davis and Joan Crawford.
they had a
What
feud all the
That
time.
was great. the way
So
they did
Mary
that.
said she's a day person because she gets more energy during the day.
Well, sun, yeah, sun gives you.
Sun-
So,
who else answered?
third-
Anybody?
Superman.
If you were to be reborn, what decade would you want to be born in? And Mary said she wants the 60s because she loves the music. And
Okay.
you, Ed? Ed's next.
I'm torn. I might want to be born now because kids don't have to do anything today.
True. I agree. You're right.
But then there's the douchebag inside me. I wish I was born in the 40s so I could team up with Hitler to eradicate the Jews.
Oh, easy.
All right, we lost
And
that
we're off
claim.
the
We
air.
lost that crowd.
Indian bit.
Hey, I work with them all day. I know why he wanted to get rid of them.
Oh, please, don't say that.
Probably for me, the 50s or the 60s. I don't know, because of the doo-wop groups. But then the Motown. After watching the story about the Temptations, boy, like they walked into that record company and Martha Reeves was the secretary, and you didn't know who she. Like when she said her name, like wow, this girl was like a major singer, and she's like a secretary. So
It was
that
a
blew me
family
away.
business.
Well, Barry Gordy, he started that Hitsville in his
And it was
house.
all. It was like a family. It was like a
Yeah,
family of
yeah.
writers and performers. Marvin Gaye wrote a lot of songs for a lot of those guys.
Him and Smokey.
Yeah, they wrote a lot of stuff for those people.
This close to getting Smokey Rob. I'm still working on Otis
I
Williams.
just posted an old video. It was Smokey Robinson and Aretha Franklin sitting at the piano singing Smokey Robinson song. It was great on Soul
wow.
Train, an old Soul Train.
Oh,
It was
wow.
great. What was the question? I
So,
forgot.
what
So
decade?
what decade would you
Oh.
want to be born in?
I'm really happy with the decade I was born in. I'm a '60s baby. I love the music. I love the '70s. I love the '80s. And it's a great era to be in. But if I had to do it as a fantasy thing, I would like to be, like you said, the golden age, back in the '30s with all the Abbott Costello and the
Right.
Marx Brothers and all. But I would have to be an entertainer because if you're not, you're in a depression and it's a horrible
Right.
time to be alive. But
Right.
as an entertainer, I would have loved to have been alive during that. era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Hollywood, living in Hollywood back then.
All right, who didn't answer that question so far? Dave?
You.
Shay.
Hey.
Shay.
All right, good job, Shay. For me, it would be like either 30-30 or like,
He likes the
30
future.
BC. I want to see. I want to experience like either end of that spectrum because I would love to see what it was like way back when, and I would also like to see what it's going to be like for my great grandchildren.
Right.
Right.
The only problem with being way back then, if you made it to 20 years old, you were an old man.
Yeah.
Right.
Most people died very young back then.
I would have liked to see like back when the Wild West type of thing, when like when everything was a little primitive.
And
When they
dysentery.
really died right away.
Mine.
Dysentery and disease.
Oh, I got scratched by a thorn bush. I might die
It'd be
this
cool
week.
to carry a gun and not have to face 30 years, you know.
I
You could
would
do
like.
that in certain states.
They'd still put you in jail.
Try carrying an air gun during the
I
West.
have what's his name, Wyatt Earp chasing me.
Yeah.
Well, who was? Did you say
Pat
was name?
Masterson come
I
after
was
you.
answering next. When you
Oh, I
guys
thought
are
you
done-
said
when you're
Mary.
done,
Go ahead.
she answered already.
No, go ahead. What was your decade?
The 20s, Roaring 20s.
Oh,
Yeah, that's coming up.
That's what I want. Exactly. I like all that stuff. That's
A
cool.
flapper. You'd be a flapper
Yep,
girl.
I want to be a flapper.
She wants to be a flapper.
Like I'm with you with the
Golden
you know,
Age.
I would have been like to go to them things with the. Remember how the Andrews sisters used to have all the
Diamond Dance?
Yeah, you know, but that's cool.
Bacon boy, the bacon man, the bacon man.
Very good questions today, just now.
Well, thank you very much.
All right,
Is that
it's-
it? That's the only.
stressful for
Is
me,
there
though.
another one?
We're done too.
That's
on
it.
Facebook.
We got one more thing to do, and we're out of here. And you
Was
know
there a
what that
third
is.
question though?
We
that
did
was
it.
Oh,
1, 2,
okay.
3.
We did the decade, the hobby, and the.
You
Oh,
want
that's right.
We'll save the riddles for next week.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Riddle me this, Batman.
That means I
Alright.
did the best I ever did on the riddle portion.
Literally.
Ed, are you ready for your thing?
You didn't get
I
any wrong.
am ready.
All right, everybody, it's time for your favorite segment of the week. It's Ed, the Big Kahuna Ruffalo, with the Way the F Out There news.
Brazen bird bandits make off with a cockatoo. A business owner says thieves smashed the window of a Southern California pet store and made off with 6 birds worth thousands of dollars. Birds in Paradise co-owner Eric Shirinen
I know him.
tells the Press Enterprise newspaper in Riverside that surveillance footage show at least one shadowy figure stealing the birds early Friday. He says the thieves, now there's thieves, there was just one,
Steve's.
took 3 Patagonian cockatoo worth $950 each.
How many?
3.
Oh, I thought you said a cockatoo.
Apparently he
I
did take a
thought it might have
cockatoo.
been three.
So I thought
You played
So-
20 and I'll
So
play
that could be
22.
6. A cocky parrot worth $1,400.
Wow.
A rose-breasted cockatoo, because she had 2 breasts,
Yellow belly sapsucker.
worth $2,200. And a yellow nape Amazon parrot worth $2,500.
Wow. For a
Eh,
bird.
For a bird. Jesus Christ, it's chicken. Shrina believes the theft at his shop in the city of Mindfee is tied to other recent bird heists in the region.
Bird heist.
Bird in the hand. Bird in the hand.
Thefts have occurred at a bird farm in Redlands and an exotic bird store in Cyprus in the past few weeks. One significant lead in the case was a note that was left at the scene of each theft that stated in bold market, "Let the pigeons loose." Hey, wait a minute. I know who did this. The Malachi brothers did this. It's the Malachis.
I knew he was going to get that. I knew it. I knew right where he was going.
The Riverside County Sheriff's Department said it's close to making an arrest in the case. I've already solved it.
It's the
Who wants a cockatoo? Who wants a cockatoo?
Rocco and Myron. The count.
Oh, Myron.
They'd be very popular in the red light district. Who wants a
Yeah.
cockatoo? Who wants a cockatoo?
Woman goes berserk after stealing chocolate Easter bunny. A woman attempted to take a chocolate bunny from a Myrtle Beach Walgreens, but didn't end up leaving the store with the bunny, police said. Instead, she got a free ride to jail. Oh, here we go. LaWanda Page, 27, entered the
LaWanda
Walgreens.
Page? You big dummy?
You big guy, you big old fish-eyed fool.
You
Like
heathen?
Gorilla cookies.
You heathen?
Woodrow, take me home, Woodrow.
LaWanda Page.
Take her to the cave, you bat.
Go ahead, LaWanda Page, go ahead.
Entered the Walgreens searching for Easter candy for her children, but realizing she didn't have enough money, big shock, To pay for the chocolate bunny, she began hiding the candy in various orifices on her body.
Well, that's gonna melt.
Just what I want, Mom's ass cheese on my bunny
That's
ears.
what I call a chocolate mess.
A store employee noticed this, and how could he not,
It melts in your vagina, not in your hand.
and confronted her about attempting to steal the candy. Paige became enraged at the thought of being called a thief. That's what got her upset, apparently. And proceeded to smash chocolate bunnies on the top of the employee's head until the employee lost consciousness. They're hollow. She decided to grab other various items and toss them in a basket and began skipping out of the store, singing "Here Comes Peter Cottontail."
Yes.
That's what's called death by chocolate.
Cops arrived on the scene to administer medical aid to the injured employee.
The what? The what?
The injured.
Injured?
There's no J.
Oh, you left out the J. J's silent, right? The J is silent.
You ain't kidding. It's so silent it's not even there.
Look who I'm talking to.
In
a
Italy, there's
prospective
no
Englishman.
J.
Yeah, like you're a fucking English major.
That's
okay.
right, you fucking bastard.
She sat on the bunny and she said, "I think I got a hair up my ass."
Paige had fled the scene with an estimated $68 worth of assorted merchandise. Police were able to apprehend her 4 blocks away as she was skipping down South Kings Highway.
A week later, she gave birth to a Cadbury egg.
She was remanded to the County Correctional Center without bail and is awaiting trial for theft and aggravated assault.
How the fuck do you correct something like that?
What other kind of assault is there? Isn't it all aggravated? You don't go up to your best friend and punch him in the face. Hey, what's going on?
What if he just bitch slap him?
It's always aggravated.
No, there's simple assault.
Or Epsom salt.
Yeah. That's always good.
Epsom salt's nice.
That is funny.
Well,
So is
You know-
sea salt.
Carlo, we have to start like tweeting these out with his, hashtag
You know what I'm
out
gonna
there.
do with him?
I'm
I'm
gonna-
gonna put him on Instagram every single.
I'm gonna do.
You know what a husband said later on? Why is there ears coming out of your vagina?
I'm gonna do Instagram live.
Is there an Instagram live?
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
a sizzle reel like with the best of the way
Yeah.
they have out there. And I'm trying to do it. Once I get all the stuff edited, I'll put together like a best of everybody, like Dave.
A
and
nice little something.
Absolutely, but let's go around the room.
Every time Shay wins.
Yeah,
He
right.
gets something. I'm kidding.
Dave, what do you got going on? Anything?
Next week, I'll be at Aguela Grill in Wilmington, Delaware. And then on that Sunday, I will be at Midway Cafe in Boston.
Wow, Midway Cafe, road trip.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Road trip.
One for work, and then I
Oh, you
got booked
doubled.
down that way. And I'm going with my son over to the PAX East Gaming Convention, so I
Aw,
talked to the lady at Midway Cafe.
Oh wow, very good, very good.
Win-win.
Paul.
absolutely.
Next Friday, the April 6th, I believe it is. Next Friday.
Oh yeah.
I'll be at the Howard Johnson's in Tom's River.
All
Come
right.
to that show. It might be one of my last
You
ones.
got 2 more today.
Taylor
your last
Johnson went over to Howard Johnson's place.
I'm thinking about being semi-retired.
Oh, no.
And,
Oh,
oh, yes.
no.
After this
And
job,
You're not
semi-retired. Oh, wait, no.
retired.
after this job, I'm going to drive halfway to work and come home.
You can't retire. If you retire,
I'm not
what am
retiring.
I going to do?
I'm not retiring.
Yeah.
I'm just
He's
semi-retired.
He's slowing down.
Ed's not gonna have nobody to eat next to him every week.
I'm almost semi-retired.
No, that
And
you're
that's
thinking
how you-
retarded, not
And then-
retired.
no,
Damn it,
I'm
that's what I
fully
meant.
retired.
Wait, Ed, didn't
I'm
you just
fully
go back
retarded.
to work?
Yeah.
How is it?
Sucks.
All my bosses are quitting. Nobody wants to be there anymore.
You're going to be the boss soon then.
Yeah, you're gonna take over.
I don't want to be in charge.
Hey, the big kahuna.
Bad enough I gotta run this silly radio show I'm doing, carrying trophies around.
Flying to
Always,
Australia.
always getting snowed out. Ruben stalking Christopher Lloyd in bathrooms.
Chocolate rabbits up your
This
ass.
whole place is falling apart.
Hey, is the trophy made of Cadbury chocolate?
If it was, I would have ate it already.
Gisela, what about you?
Well, this week I'm excited because it's spring break and I have my kids and it's Easter.
Yay!
See, she brings it to a nice happy moment.
Happy Easter, everybody.
That's right.
To
Happy
everybody out
Passover,
there,
too.
to all
Oh,
our
you're-
affiliates and all the men and women overseas. Hope you have I know you're not home with us, but we hope you have a safe and happy Easter, even though you're not with your loved ones. Once again, I want to thank Julia Montgomery and Larry B. Scott for phenomenal interviews. I want
Yep.
to thank Rob Lowe at Casting New Lives for making that
Low,
happen.
low, low.
Francesca's Deli, 2119 Whitesville Road in Toms River, New Jersey, 732-363-5555. You gotta pick up some food there. It's really amazing, and especially with the weekend coming, you know they'll do the right thing. Just mention you heard it here on Animal House Radio.
We had one word for the week. That was it.
That's it.
Hat trick. That's it.
Hat trick.
Food.
Wow, you're slacking, boy. Usually
No, you didn't give me any big words this week.
No.
You didn't say
Well,
any
we
big
had
words.
good guests that would taken up more of this time
that's
to
true.
stop them. So
I acquiesced. To the
Oh, there, acquiesce. We got another one.
There you go.
There you go.
the gentleman on on my right has ceded his time to the guests.
60 minutes.
We're getting.
Oh, and it's Dante's birthday. Too.
Oh,
happy
He's
birthday.
He's gonna be 7 on April 4th.
Little Dante.
7.
Yeah, you're coming over for. We're gonna have a cake for him.
When?
I didn't even know about this.
That means he's like 50 in dog years.
Show me no when. Show me no when.
Everybody's invited. All the Facebook listeners.
Yeah, next weekend we'll do it on a Sunday.
Okay.
Oh no, wait. Will they be here next Sunday?
No.
They're gonna be here from this Friday until
Next Friday.
next Thursday, I think.
So
All right, so we're gonna have to do it during the week. Yeah, we'll have a cake. Gene, you'll come if you're not, unconscious. Or, but I know you're pointing to the board. But all right, we'll see. We only went 10 minutes over today, so Gene's happier than a pig in shit. We'll see you all next week, everybody. This is the Animal House Radio Show.
Ciao for now.
But wait.